Hi there, folks. Welcome, welcome. We'll get going in just a second here. It sounds like Juan's having a little bit of trouble with his mic, but we'll be right back to it shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to finish my sandwich. That's what everyone came here for, mukbang stream. Hiya, Jamie. Don't worry, Jamie. I won't hit you with the dad joke. Even though you know you deserve it. For all of the times you've done it to other people. Hi, Smidge. Hi, Glowstick. It's a bagel sandwich. And part of it is probably going to get green screened out because there's spinach on it. It's got salami, it's got cheese, and it's got spinach. I'm looking at OBS to see if it does actually get green screened out. That'd be funny. Oh no, you can see it. It's the wrong color green, I guess. Do I have a oh yeah, I've got a DM. Juan says, give me a sec. I was watching the Kyo clip this morning and my laptop's headphones started ringing. I haven't seen this Kyo clip. Was he just yelling so loud that it broke Juan's headphones? That'd be on brand. Hi, Annie. And Woomy19. And Cactus. How am I today? I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. Had a good meeting this morning. It's an event that I'm running a little bit later on. I think in September or something like that. Oh no! That's gonna be August. That's gonna be August. I was happy to hear that they seem like they know what they're doing, so should go pretty smoothly. Moving tables and desks for the past 5 hours? Oh, wow. For what, Jamie? Your dad's classroom. Oh, cool. Nice of him to use you as free labor for that. Well, you're in luck, Cactus. The Super P's K-Shot is the one who's on the call right now. Or at least is trying to be on the call. There seem to be some technical difficulties here. Doing it for years, I've got it pretty streamlined. Okay, cool. What's taking 5 hours then? Like, are you moving tables and desks for the entire school? I'm going to pay close attention. No phones on the desk. See, the no phones on the desk rule, this is something that y'all Zoomers don't know about, but back when there were flip phones, back when people used those, phones on the phones on the desk rule didn't even help because it wasn't a touchscreen, it was physical buttons, and you could feel all of the different keys, and so you could send a text message with your hand in your pocket and your phone barely unfolded in your hand. Like, you could get good enough at it that you just didn't make any mistakes that way. So people were still able to, like, send text messages during class while, like, looking up and appearing alert. It's a thing that you guys have been denied by the advent of technology. It used to take about 3 days. Only took 5. Okay, headphones are good. Are you hearing me okay, Juan? Oh, Juan got booted out. Are you back? You are muted currently in Discord.
Oh yeah, I got booted out because I had to restart my whole computer.
Oh, okay. Yikes. All right. Well, glad you were able to make it back here. So there's NerfNZap in the chat. That's one. Do you stream it all, One? Is that a good Twitch channel for them to follow?
Yeah, that's where I used to stream at. I'm gonna start streaming Splatoon 3 because yeah, they're asking us to start streaming again, so I'm gonna do that.
All right.
But I just need to get a new micro USB cord because every time I try to like stream to my friends on Discord, it like disconnects randomly.
Gotcha.
So I need a new one.
So everybody go and follow NerfNZap. Just post it in the chat. You've got the name right there. Just click it, hit that follow button. We're going to get started here with the VOD review. So I've watched the first match pretty extensively. And then the other match, it took me so long to watch the first match because there's just so much going on here that I didn't have the time to go and look at the other ones. So those will be a little bit more improvised. But there's a lot for me to learn here, and I'm sure that it's going to be interesting to hear what you, Juan, have to say as a player on one of these teams. Full disclosure, everybody, this team that I am VOD reviewing and critiquing here is better than me at the game. And I'm sure Juan is aware of that, even, in requesting the VOD review here. Like, I've reached a, high Div 4 level, and this is literally the best team in North America that they're playing against. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, and I'm going to be asking more questions of the VOD reviewee than usual, I think, in making this. But I really respect the willingness of Super P to come forward and look for another perspective, because you can always disagree with a perspective that's given to you, but you'll never know which ones you're going to agree with until you ask. So I think that this is still a very good thing for us to be doing, and I'm sure I'm going to learn just as much as the rest of us are going to as well here. So I've got the commentary muted. As much as I love 9, we're going to be pausing it and replaying it so many times here, and they have to kind of come up with their conclusions live. I'd rather just be able to focus on the game here and see what we can see. So team comps are almost completely identical. The only difference is that Starburst is running this Squiffer. This is the Baller Squiffer, and then Super P is running the Rapid. Somebody in chat was asking, is this Leofosha, or is this a different player?
That is Taco. Taco, let me link her Twitter. That's Taco.
Gotcha.
Leo kind of quit the game earlier this year, but he's gonna come back for S3. I think he's trying to make a team for Riptide, so he's looking for players for that. But yeah, Leo quit the game, but that's Taco.
Gotcha.
That's just the character from an anime that she likes.
There we go. That makes sense. Okay. And then Voice, that's their gamer tag, just Voice?
Yeah, his name is like VoiceZap or something. Yeah, like that.
Okay, cool. And I'm aware of Synapse. We actually just played with Synapse in League the other day. on stream, and then this is one. And then hopefully Starburst requires no particular introduction. We've got our triple threat carbohydrates, the bagel, biscuit, and bran, and then ice, bread, and water. You know, y'all know them, y'all love them.
Yeah, I call them the triple Bs because it's like biscuit,
Yeah.
bran, bagel.
and they're all breads too, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Um, and then we've just got ice because I mean you need something to drink, right? So
Yep.
the team synergy is just on point. Also, really appreciate that they're one of the few frickin' teams in this entire community that can keep a team tag consistent across all of their members. They actually got the SB, all of them, like that. More teams need to do that. I was trying to get that going with watercolor, and people just kept refusing to even just put the one little extra character in their name. Anyway, it helps with branding. It helps with people recognizing who you are. They see that tag, and even if they don't remember your gamer tag, they're like, "Oh, you're from that team. Oh shit." So anyway, rolling out here, we've got Synapse taking a really deep position on left. Then Juan ends up going to plat and then dropping out left to help Synapse, and then Voice and Taco end up on the far right-hand side. And I want to take a look at what Starburst is doing as well here. So it looks like Biscuit immediately goes to right stack. Ice is watching over mid here. What ends up happening in this opener is Synapse, and of course the spectator cam looks at the Zap who's just farming armor, because that's the most important player to be looking at right this moment. So as best we can tell through 3 different walls, Synapse gets pushed pretty far up into left stack and ends up in a fight, and Juan ends up going to help out with that. And Juan, if you have any perspective on what all happened while you were over there, that would be great to hear. But
I was like kept repeating, "Oh, Ice is on Squiffer," because I haven't seen Ice's Squiffer in like a while.
yeah, and what he does with it on this map is actually really cool. And I was curious whether you'd seen it before, because I definitely haven't. We'll talk about that when it starts happening, when they take mid control and they're pressuring your plat. But I think what he's doing with it is insanely effective. And any Squiffer players out there, it'd be good stuff for you to watch. I might even try and steal some of this for my GooTuber to X run. But so armor goes out, which is like, we're kind of just trying to get tempo by popping the armor as fast as we can. Their armor goes out a second later, so it's kind of like a wash. I feel like there's maybe an argument to be said that like having the armor come out like slightly later might help a little bit, so that their armor wears off first, but I don't know. I don't think it makes a huge difference at all. They come out at about the same time, so we're basically even right now. It looks like the missiles are also coming out from one here. Or no, wait, no, this is the wrong team I'm looking
That's
at.
Brand. That's Brand.
Yeah, it's so Brand's missiles come out here, and it doesn't look. So it looks like they're targeting the left-hand side because the missiles aren't showing up on you guys. So they're targeting the left-hand side with the missiles, and I am assuming Synapse is already like getting hard engaged on at this point in time. But then Voice and Taco get sucked into this engagement on the right with Biscuit. So I think this is kind of where the fight on the left stops working, because now, like,
the rapid is too far up and it's forced to engage. Meanwhile, yeah, I went down and then Synapse is stuck in a 1v2.
So what happens, let me just grab this up on plans so that we can like point to the map and tower control top down. Okay. And let me make sure this is framed right on screen. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. So what is kind of happening here is they're taking full mid control. The entire area from like here to here. We've got like Synapse, who's like up here somewhere. We've got you, who's probably like around here somewhere. And then the other two are boxed up right here. I think about this like, I think about chess in a way. If you put are you familiar with chess? Do you know at least like the basic rules?
Not really. I haven't
Oh, okay.
played it.
Um, so on the board, if you put a piece in the middle and it has like a limited amount of space that it can move in any direction. But if you put it in the corner, it can only move in these directions. And so in chess, a really big concept is controlling the center of the board, because your pieces are doing more by being there. Now, granted, in the middle of the map, it's like very open. The only cover you've got is the tower. But what's happening here is like Starburst have control of mid, and what that lets them do is decide which side they want to collapse on. Because your two pairs are separated from each other. For all we know, they could have just committed like all four members around the stack and won this 4v2 before these two players are able to do anything about it. That's my take on how this rollout works out. That these two players just get a little bit too separated from the support that's on the right. And I think Biscuit on the K52 is perfectly happy to be taking this fight over here and distracting these members. Like they can just skirmish here all they want because they're a K52, and how the hell do you kill them? And buy their team time to deal with what's going on over here. I don't think Starburst like hard commits like all of their members over here, but the fight definitely goes poorly. And maybe if like someone had stayed on plat and had been able to rotate over, or maybe you've got like the rapid firing shots to control this angle, that you guys would have had an escape route or something like that. That's my best thought about how this might have gone a little bit better. But what does go really well here is what happens next, because you guys are 2 down, but they've still got some members on left. And so there's this very small window where you guys are actually able to shark and get a pick. I think it's particularly lucky that Bran and Biscuit happened to push around at exactly the same time in exactly the same position. Like, Voice is probably only expecting to get one here, and then all of a sudden there's a second one. They're like, oh, okay, I'll take it. So now,
there was another moment like this in Humpback as well. You might see on stream as well, where the exact same thing happened. I sharked around a corner, and then I just killed both Biscuit and Bran. So I think they like doing that. They like pairing up together, but sometimes it backfires on them because someone pre-fires like a corner or something.
Yeah, like, this is one of the things that I learned back in like Div 6, like when we were like low Div 6 as a team, was like, we need to group, but we can't group too much, because then like one bomb kills 3 of us, or somebody does a bubble insta-pop or something, and we are just very sad. So it feels like there is limited space going around that choke point, but even if they just take like a little bit more distance between them, I feel like they're going to be able to help each other just a little bit more than that. But part of it also is like at top level, they're playing very, very fast. They're playing for tempo. They're playing to like, okay, we've got an advantage. We need to get plat now. We need to move. And so I think that's part of the reason that, especially in like North America, we see a lot of sharking play styles, because that's a really good counter to people who are trying to move fast and they're not maybe painting quite as patiently. I feel like that sort of idea, I've seen FLC criticize the amount of sharking that NA players do from time to time, and I think that this sort of a play might be one of the reasons that play style is so rewarded here, and that it might be a little bit less effective against other regions. But, okay, so we now have a 2v2 situation. But one thing that I'm noticing here is that despite, you know, numbers being even and specials being even, they have full paint control in mid. And Ice is not giving up the tower here. If you want Ice off the tower, like, you're going to need to push him off. I don't know what ends up happening to Taco. Like, where's the rapid here? I don't know if they, like, backed up onto bats or something to farm armor or something, but, like...
I think she jumped out because she was, okay. Like... Because we were like, okay, guys, jump out, and then Voice gets 2, so it's just... It randomly just happened, that's why.
Yeah, they backed up off screen. There's a shot.
So she's coming back from a jump, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because I think she backed all the way up to plat and didn't expect... Yeah.
It looks like she actually backs up onto bats and then drops back in behind Voice after that. because there wasn't a super jump or anything. But all right. So yeah, I feel like in this situation now that two are down, um, I don't know. Against a Squiffer, it seems scary. But most of the time, I would think maybe you want the Rapid to be pressuring tower so that they can't just like stand on it and keep getting advantage from this 2v2 position. Because right now, like, they're still pushing, and now we forced them off. So not the end of the world, and it's probably a good thing to have Taco like working with Voice here, given it is a 2v2. And this is a really good pick. They're super vulnerable. You go and get it. And here it starts to feel like we're playing Salmon Run. Because in Salmon Run, the entire map is painted for the enemy team most of the time. And you're spending most of your time like just moving around through enemy ink and just trying to like do your best. It doesn't feel like we're trying to maintain map control at this point in the game. Because the enemy team is starting to spawn back in. We're starting to have some fights around the map. But like, they still have overwhelming paint control, and we've done nothing to try and take that back, and we could be getting specials from that. We could be playing this a little bit slower, probably, because now we've got someone isolated on the left over here. Looks like they end up winning that, thanks to Voice, but in moving over, the Rapid can't hang with that movement, and they get caught out, and the map is still completely yellow in the middle of it. It's still like that sort of Grand Canyon situation we were looking at earlier, where Starburst have control of the place where the tower is, and so they get to still keep doing things. So I don't know if this is maybe focusing too much on getting picks, or if like we're not trying to paint enough for special, but
It was definitely the focus on getting picks because I felt like since Voice got the 2 picks, we were like, okay, we can just wipe them so easily because it's only 2 of them. But the members got in way too fast, so we weren't able to get the picks and then relax and then get map control. Because
yeah,
usually how my team works is that we like to like get like at least like 2 or 3 down, and then we like to start painting. But in that situation, obviously it didn't work. We should have just started painting right away because we could have probably pressured eyes way more easily with the Rapid, and we could have forced Baller or something.
Mm-hmm. Something that I see from Starburst that, especially in this game that I've been watching here, that might just be like something that you're not used to seeing because only top teams are going to do it like this, is they are extremely, extremely aggressive with their super jumps. Like, they're getting players, there are like multiple moments in this match where they're pressuring your plat, and they've got someone sitting right here behind your wall, and they're getting multiple super jumps to that location.
Yeah, the thing about them is that we never wiped them once they're in that game. We were close, like I think like 3 times, but we never wiped them because they just kept super jumping back in and super jumping kept back in, and then one player would get like 2, and then you know it
Yeah,
would
it's,
just
it's looking
continue.
like Splatoon 1 strats, honestly, in some of these places. Um, so
Mhm.
right now we're 2 down, so we need to kind of like get paint up, get specials, like relax a little bit. They probably have first checkpoint.
I think I got this pick on brand. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's a really good pick, and I think the missiles do actually stall this out pretty well. Or no, it's yeah. The missiles stall it out. You know, they're forced way back because they're in a really good line here. Something, you know, as a K-Shot player myself, I'm always looking for is like, do I have opponents who are close enough to each other that each other's missiles are going to be a problem? Because you never get kills with missiles with the ones that target the player. You get kills with missiles with the ones that target their teammates.
Mhm.
And so, like, you know, just to use this really good example of missiles to teach the audience here, like, look at how much of this really narrow corridor those missiles painted, and look at how far back Bagel and Biscuit get forced. Yesterday on stream, I was talking about how the missiles force Dom Likes Pie out of position on Walleye, and how he didn't have to move quite as far away from the missiles to avoid them. He didn't have to get displaced as much by them, the way that they were fired. These missiles, like Bagel and Biscuit, need to back all the way up, and you've also got a bomb in the way so that they have to slow their way to the tower even more. This is the power of a weapon like the K-Shot. It's really, really good at stalling. It's really good at putting stuff in the opponent's way so that you can get tempo back from them. And so what Juan is doing here is really good. It's giving his teammate, an extra 3 or 4 seconds that they can use to get back out onto the map and have full force when Starburst are actually going to start pushing in.
I feel like those missiles were a bit too early because I feel like I should have waited for Taco to get at least like 3 shots in or like 2, so that they would have been at least a bit damaged, and then the missiles probably could have chipped one of them down, and we could have probably gotten another pick maybe.
So are you thinking maybe you would have liked to just throw bombs at tower instead of firing the missiles to stall? Because like you do definitely succeed in stalling the tower. Now, if you want and need more value out of those missiles, then yeah, maybe that would be the case. It does stop them from taking first checkpoint, so I don't think it's the worst play you could have made. But if you're planning on using the missiles, for example, to get picks, then this is definitely way too early for anyone to be able to follow up on them, especially if Bagel and Biscuit are just going to drop back behind the stack here. They kind of used this stack as a staging ground the entire game. There are moments where you're seeing like 2 or 3 of them jumping in behind this as well as behind the wall here. So I think that's one piece of having mid control, that like they know they're perfectly safe being here on stacks because there's no way that you guys get to them with any kind of speed. Like they can just drop a super jump right here because there's no pressure on this. Maybe like even just standing on plat and getting some paint out here on this angle when you can, I feel like that might help out. It stops ice from sharking quite as close to the wall like we're going to see. It gives you maybe the ability to where, okay, we just got to pick, let's rush the stack. You can put someone over on the right and someone through the middle, and because you already have a little bit of paint there, you're going to be able to get there and meet on the other side and collapse on them or something like that. It's just like this whole area being uncontested means that they can just live on your stacks, and there's not a lot that you're able to do about it for now. So they pop armor, seeing that the missiles have fallen and there's no more threat of other specials for now. Biscuit gets up onto plat, which is really scary. And what Ice is doing here is really cool. So for those who don't know, the Squiffer charges at full speed when it's jumping. It's kind of unique perk as a charger. It's what gives it a niche that is better than the GooTubers. And what Ice is doing with it is he's standing right underneath this platform where usually you might see like a carbon deco or something sitting to hit over the side, or like a tri-slosher or something, or maybe someone who's trying to inkjet over. And he's taking jump shots that go just high enough for the shot to hit up all the way over plat. And the whole game, while they're in this sort of situation, look how much paint that put. Like that's 3 shots. And now like half of your plat is just completely painted the wrong color for you guys. I think this is one of the major factors that made it difficult for you guys to defend, was that you just didn't have a lot of room to move.
Biscuit paints ridiculously well. It's kind of ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, it was like really surprising to me. I was looking at that like, wait a minute, what? Did missiles fall on plat or something? Like, how is that painted? But yeah, and Biscuit, is also putting a lot of pressure on the ramp at the same time. So it's like you can't really deal with Biscuits that well because you might get sniped from ice. So they've got kind of a 2-pronged attack going on here, and from very, very safe angles. The K-52 is like the best weapon in the game at just very slowly walking forward at you because it can just put a wall, and then it's a mid-ranged weapon with an insanely fast kill time that paints really well, and so it can just kind of stay there, and then it can get special by painting really well and use that to stay there for longer. So Biscuit's kind of just harassing a little bit, skirmishing a little bit, and wasting some time. And then Ice is in this really safe position where very little of him is even exposed, and you have to like roll a bomb over the ledge or something like that to get him out of here. Because otherwise you're just contesting a charger across open ground. Like you need to get behind this to have a chance of like not getting sniped by him. So this is really cool tech from the Squiffer here that I really haven't seen on this map before. And that's what kind of lets them get through first check. Now, what Super P is doing is really smart here. They recognize that we don't have the resources to stop this push in our current state. We've gotten picked. We're really far back. So right now we need to just regroup. We're not going to go into the feed and stagger loop here. So now we've got Ice, who decides to baller up over the top left. Um, okay, are you able to like throw a suction bomb at that and just knock him off into the water? Is that a thing? I don't know. But in any case, I don't know where he ended up. Oh, he gets knocked over onto Plat, is what happens there. Um, this is really good play from Synapse here to kind of assert himself on left-hand side here, because now this area, which is really crucial to defend the second checkpoint, is still under you guys' control. You've got full paint over it. You've got a wall in the way. Like, Starbursts backs up off of this because they realize that without this under control, they're not able to keep pushing forward. So they're trying to get some picks. They're trying to maybe make use of this baller. Ice pops the baller right on the edge so that they have an escape route if they need it. And now we can't see anything because it's focusing on the NZap.
On the zap.
Very cool. Thank you, Spectator Cam. Much appreciated. So this ends up being a crazy back and forth trade. So Synapse uses this Booyah to clear them even further out of this area, and then actually drops left tree to try and kind of clear this. So Bagel sees this and realizes that he's in trouble and uses the tree really smartly for cover. You can see how closely he's working around it, how he's right side peeking it. But there's also the rapid coming in. So this is still a losing fight for Bagel. Shots getting missed on both sides. Again, the camera angle is fantastic. But Bagel is lasting long enough that other members are coming into the fight.
Brian was able to come in and clean up. Yeah.
Right. So I think like Bran gets one, but Biscuit gets a triple off of this play. So I think Bran is able to actually. Looks like Bran even goes down to Synapse, but in the meantime, Biscuit has gotten one somewhere else, and then just finishes off these two. So.
Oh no, Biscuit was in the corner. I remember this. Yeah. So I remember I called out to Voice behind you, but he didn't know I was calling out to him, and so he didn't see Biscuit was behind him. So yeah.
So yeah, Biscuit 1, 2, and 3 right there. So Biscuit gets 3 off of that. So everybody dies because Ice is respawning or jumped out or something. And the crazy thing is, even after everybody dies, they still have map control. They still have tempo because Ice gets to the tower first and gets on it and keeps pushing it. This kind of like relentlessness. You guys have not been able to touch mid with your feet since the opener. And so like maybe if you guys are able to like get out quickly enough, you can kind of try and overwhelm Ice and get them off tower and slow this down. But the tower is right back where it was before. Everybody traded, and so nothing has changed, and we're still cooped up in our base here. So I can only say so much about the mechanics of how that fight was played. You know, I'm only at a certain level in those kinds of engagements myself, and it's really chaotic and difficult to watch on camera. But ultimately, you know, we're basically still in the status quo. One thing that does happen, it looks like, is that Starburst comes out and gets specials faster. No, it looks like you guys have armor first, and you just pop it right away. Cool. So I think you might be of the mind like, okay, let's try and like take tempo back. Let's try and get a fight going right now so that we can push in and get them out of the way before they're set up again. But it looks like they have 2 specials ready to go. Missiles get popped, and that's really going to keep you guys back. A big part of why this works is like, look at this fortress they have on left stack. Because they have this here and it's just right next to the tower, we need something more than just an armor to clear them out, because they can just back up into this.
We need armor, missiles, and a Booyah there.
Yeah, like a Booyah behind this would actually be huge.
I don't think Synapse ever, because the one time he Booyah'd tree.
Yeah,
I think he should have Booyah'd on that side, because that side they just had that side the entire game, and we weren't able to control it until like the last minute.
Right.
And at that point, they pushed it to like 20, I think. So we needed to have like a 1 or done push.
Yeah, I think what's happening with the Booyah is like, so let's say the Booyah goes here, and it's about that big-ish. So if the Booyah goes here, that's going to force them either back this way or forward, and nobody ended up going forward. Everyone ended up going back. So they still have players here, they still have presence here, and they still have presence here. And then, as best I can tell, as the fight develops around this area, Bagel stalls out from right here, but then they're able to get in from both sides and pinch the players who are in the space that you guys earned with the Booyah. I think if the Booyah goes like... that was bad. Circle. Wait, I could just draw a circle. That would have been smart. If the Booyah goes like hereabouts, or maybe a little bit further back, you probably want it to be behind so that it does something like this. That forces some people to go this way or to go this way. But either way, like here, they don't have any support, and you can just collapse on that and win that fight as long as you're able to, get the shots on. Because the players here can't get back in fast.
The thing about that Booyah spot is that you have to Booyah over from like around bats. You have to Booyah from around bats and then just throw it over. And I don't know where exactly that spot would be. And so you would have to throw it over and then make sure it hits over there.
One idea might be to like throw it like right here or something, because it's not going to go that far behind, but it is going to clear them out from there. So maybe that's an idea. You know that they're not on stacks, and then maybe you can like go in and start using that for cover or something. I don't know. I'd have to like look at it, how big it actually is on the map, and do some thinking about it. But basically, like, we're trying to create separation here, and what happened when we put the Booyah over here was just this player backed up a little bit, and these players were still able to come in. So we didn't really cut them off from where their major staging ground was. If we're able to force them back into mid somehow with one of these specials, like missiles would probably help too. Like maybe you missile the players who are behind it, and then you put the Booyah over here or something, and if someone's still stuck here, then they get trapped. If they're pushed back to mid, then you can start actually taking this ground again and stop ice from doing things. So I feel like that might be a play, like combine missiles with Booyah for more displacements. I don't know. But I think you're recognizing, like, we needed to get this, and the way that we're using specials, like whatever we were trying to do, didn't end up clearing that. And so since we didn't take enough space with our specials, when they used their specials, they were able to start from where they left off. So out comes their armor, and because of their...
like a 3v1.
Yeah, because of the missiles, I think, force him forward. Because I think... Yeah, they've just been popped, and so they're falling now. You can see, like, he's walking forward on the ramp. I don't know. Maybe he could have backed up. It looks like he's got paint behind him. I don't know. But so now this is K-Pro's happy place, because they get to throw this Booyah, and the separation that they get here gets them a pick. And not only that, it gets them a pick on the Zap, and so you guys lose armor. So now it's a 2v3, but they have special advantage and they have positional advantage. And look how little space you have to move on your plat, because the charger has been shooting over the top of this whole time. So at this point, Biscuit just puts up a wall and does what K-52s do.
Yeah.
And the one saving grace here is that the tower actually went all the way back to mid in that time. But at this point, that's a beautiful stagger in from the missiles. That's exactly when they needed the missiles, and that just forces a jump. That's really well played. What I'm pointing out to the audience here is, like, I have a TikTok out about how you need to stagger your specials instead of using them all at once. If you use them all at once, you can only get so much space, because you can only move forward so long before the special runs out and it's not impacting the enemy team anymore. But when you go, first we'll pop an armor, and then we'll pop a Booyah, and then we'll pop missiles, each one of those is going to shift the enemy team back a little bit, and then you're going to have another one to shift them back further. And so they're kind of walking in by stages. You had the armor popped first, then you had the Booyah popped to clear bats, then you had the missiles to clear this area up here on perch, and now Biscuit is in full control. And like now you're starting to see that there's a discrepancy in number of specials used because they've got so much map control. They haven't been going down quite as much. And look at how yellow the map is.
Also, did you notice that Biscuit just popped Booyah earlier, like 15 seconds ago, and now he has it again?
Yep. um, like not only okay. So let's see where this gets popped. It's like right here, 246. Okay. So it gets thrown, and he's starting to farm special again at like 242 or so.
246.
So he's like half to special. And he's just taking all of the like enemy ink around him. And now he's got another Booyah. And this Booyah is also great because whenever someone's in the air with a Booyah, you can't like commit to an engagement. Because as soon as you commit, as soon as you make it so that you have no escape route, the Booyah just gets thrown at that spot and you're dead. So you have to kind of like wait and see where the Booyah is going to get thrown. And so a lot of the time in a position like this, what a top player is going to do is they're going to take advantage of the fact that you have to sit and wait and see. He's sitting with the Booyah ready to go so that as soon as someone drops, they go down, which means they can't drop, which means the tower just gets to keep going for another 10 ticks or something before anything's going to happen.
Yeah, Biscuit got Booyah in the span of 20 seconds. 2 Booyahs in 20 seconds.
Yeah, and like a lot of that is just because he's able to play so aggressively, because like the best way to get special is to paint over enemy ink because you're denying them space, and you know, especially when you get deep into the enemy base, it's going to be painted very thoroughly, so you're going to be able to take a lot of it back. If you know Biscuit were back in mid right now, they'd have only a few little splotches of purple here and there to clean up, but since they're this deep in the enemy base, they have a lot more that they can paint over. So they're going to be able to farm special that way pretty quickly. But you guys do also have a lot of yellow paint to work with. That's kind of a comeback mechanic of the game, that the more the enemy paints, the more access you have to special charge. So hopefully we can get something of that sort going here. Looks like Synapse ends up going down to, I think, Ice, probably?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a snap from Ice there. So it might just be that we weren't aware of where Ice was. Now, Ice had fired a couple of shots there. So maybe it's that like Synapse was expecting their wall to still be up, and then it went down. Oh, yeah. So right as the wall is about to go down, Synapse jumps off the ledge, and so they're committed to that movement, and Ice hits that snipe every time.
Yep.
Maybe if the wall had lasted another second, they could have maybe hit some shots here, but the timing was just a little off there. Voice making the hero play here, and it looks like with rapid shots on the other side of the wall, they're able to get him. But now they have to deal with Ice. Ice trades back. Ice ballers in, and that's just a nasty place to have to deal with a baller. So now we have to drop back in over the right-hand side, probably. Oh, no, they rush right. Ice down. Synapse gets them. Bagel and Bran are still here. We really need to, like, decisively clear these guys out, because otherwise they are just going to jump back in. Just like that. You know that if people didn't contest Biscuit, someone would have jumped to him.
Oh, wait, how did Voice die? What the heck?
I think Voice went down to Biscuit, didn't he? As oh no, there's a Synapse we see die. So they're fighting.
Oh wait, he went down
Bagel
to Bagel
here. Yeah, they went down to Bagel. Okay, so Bagel trades, Biscuit trades, and Biscuit is able to waste our time and again keep us from ever touching foot in mid. Like they're gonna get back on the tower now. It's I think it was like a 2-2
because
trade
then
or something.
Yeah, the 2-for-2 trade, and then Ice comes back in and then kills me again, and so it was just back to the same thing.
Yep, and here we are with the Booyah on perch. Where have we seen this before? So, well, what to do differently, I guess, is the question there. Part of it is just like that whenever possible, you want to be contesting the paint in mid so that you can't have Biscuit just hiding there. Even if there are fewer places for Biscuit to hide there, I feel like just having fewer places you need to check makes it so that you're less likely to run into a pick like that. In that situation, I think you did have numbers, and so if you're able to collapse on Biscuit there and actually get something going, then maybe that helps. But it is a K52. It's kind of hard to position around the wall if you didn't know that he was going to be there in the first place. But yeah, so paint control is definitely what helps Starburst maintain this push. Some more thorough, careful painting when you guys are pushing back into mid, I think will be helpful, just because one, it'll help you get specials, but two, it'll prevent sharks like this. It seems like we're trying to play a little bit on the fast side, and so we're kind of running into sharks like this that way. But maybe like a bomb over the ledge too might be helpful, because the bomb would force Biscuit to move, and then that movement would be visible, and then we'd catch on to them. Just like knowing now that that's a place where they like to shark, knowing that they liked to shark around like left stacks, like those are some places that we probably want to be throwing stuff to flush them out before we push in.
I give some insight. So I didn't play the game for like around a year because I was busy with college. So I'm not used to like Biscuit being on frontline. I'm used to them being on not. So I'm not really used to them like sharking, because usually they don't really
shark. That's not a thing you do on not.
Yeah, that's not a thing you do on not. You can't shark with not. But yeah, so
well, unexpected. I'm popping up, and when I get my charge, you're gonna get it, buddy. So, all right. So the Booyah goes out, and this is really good missile management from Biscuit. This is something that I keep talking about on like my other streams. Like when missiles are on you, move forward a little bit before you move back, and that way you get to maintain the same position on the map instead of being forced away. It's especially good with a K-Gal because it can put a wall out to protect itself while it does move forward. So Biscuit is not displaced at all by the specials that get used here, because it looks like we're focusing them on the tower. Let me take another look here. So here's the Booyah. It forces you guys back. And then missiles Booyah immediately get popped. We are one down. Looks like the Booyah gets put on plat to try and force some players forward, but it doesn't look like that actually happens. Ice is the only one who's here, and they, I think, hide in the corner or something like that, and then they just get right back on tower. Good pick from the Rapid. That was crucial. That saves a lot of time. We probably don't save the checkpoint, unfortunately, but we've got them in a bad enough spot here that we can probably, like, rush Biscuit down. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, so Bagel's in position, pops armor. Bran is trying to pressure these players so that these players can't drop. It might be good here. Yeah, you're coming to help. You're coming to help. Wow, that's just really well positioned. I'm trying to think like...
surviving that Booyah was really good for him because it was able to get Biscuit right back into the fold, and then...
And it kept the tower on 2 ticks to checkpoint. I think that was also huge. That like... His Ice... Oops. So Booyah goes out there, and then Ice... Yeah, Ice just kind of stops from moving too far backwards and stays in the corner right here. And there's nobody to, like, flush him out. So now here we are. So you get picked by Ice, because you're probably not expecting him to even be there until he gets on tower.
Yeah, I thought he was dead because of the Booyah. But he wasn't.
Rapid takes Ice out, and then Bagel... Oh, yeah, there's not a lot of paint here is one problem. So, like... Taco doesn't have a lot of room to run away once they start getting pushed by Bagel. They've got like one line that they can follow here, but when they get pushed by Biscuit, they've got like one line that they can retreat to in this direction, but like their feet are painted, they're kind of stuck. So it's again like Starburst are getting these big patches of paint really deep into your base in some of these cases that are enabling Biscuit to push up more than he normally would be able to. And at this point, that's game over. Okay. Man, Starburst is so good at the video game. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking for the VOD review, because it's like they're really good.
um. Okay. So this I haven't had as much of a chance to watch, but I guess to review, you know, my basic thoughts on this match, we need to avoid getting split out of mid. We want like more of an ability to move into mid, even if we don't like want to stay in mid. We want to at least have the option to go there, because them being in mid is driving a wedge between your teammates and isolating them into fights that are more winnable for Starburst than they are for you. Second thing is on, you know, defense. Like once we've had a successful defense, we need to be careful for sharks and kind of take it a little bit slower maybe to paint for special and to get out there meticulously and safely, because it's the specials that are really going to help you lock out. The numbers advantage that you get, I think, off of a defensive push, the numbers advantage will get you as far as mid. And then after that, you're going to need to fight again. And so I think the real way to push your advantage when you're able to get a defensive play like that is probably to farm up for special instead, so that then, yeah, okay, it's a 4v4 in mid, but now we have paint control and now we have specials. And that's really what I think Starburst were using more successfully to gain control of mid, was they had so much paint control that they were able to get access to more advanced positions, and they were able to keep the battle lines pushed towards your base instead of having them be more equal in mid. You guys had fewer positions you could push in from. They had staging grounds where they could keep jumps. And so I think more of a focus on painting than on getting the picks will, number one, help the picks follow. It'll help you make sure that you're not getting sharked and you're not falling behind in numbers before you have a chance. But number two, I think that that's the more important advantage to be cultivating in the situations where you've won a numbers advantage, because just trading back down is going to give them more of an opportunity to gain tempo again. So that's what I'm thinking, based on what I'm seeing so far. But let's see how the other matches go, because there were a couple of like wrinkles that got thrown in the plans here. So like, you weren't expecting Biscuits to be sharking on K52. You weren't expecting Ice to be playing Squiffer. So there are a couple of things that, you know, we're adjusting to mid-match. This looks like a much, much more traditional comp. This is something that, like, literally, if you ask someone to name a meta comp, they're playing it right now. This is something that you guys have seen before. So
because I was used to seeing Ice on VJet and CJet, since Sniper was like, or like the Sniper class of weapons have been shifted out of the meta for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see Q, I think was playing Rapid during Super Jump, or most of Super Jump, and then Ice is mostly playing CJet and VJet.
I was seeing Ice switch between Jet and Charger, like Vanilla Charger, during Splat World Championship, which was same patch. So he definitely still has it in his wheelhouse. He's still got his bag of tricks. To what extent he is cracked at Charger and has been for years, and to what extent this is something that actually just works really well for any player, I can't say. But he definitely has experimented. Like he's not just one tricking that weapon. There are a lot of other things that he's messing around with here and there. And clearly, you know, having a bag of tricks like that has been helping with throw some teams off guard.
Yep.
All right, so Mako zones. So we've got, looks like pretty even special charge here. Looks like we're focusing more on Super P on moving out into mid and getting early cap. I like the play to go for early cap because it gives you a lot of paint early on. which can be helpful for moving around in mid, and it also puts the pressure on the other team to push in. Obviously, they're going to have more specials to push in with when you know, when you get it. But during the time that like the zone is contested, you can be, you know, painting yourself your escape routes to be ready for their push back in. So
we're gonna have more paint around mid because Ice is gonna go for early Ray because that's what Seejets like to do. At top level, they love going for early Ray so that the other teammates can push around. So you can see that Biscuit's pushing up with Bran, Bagel's going for armor, and then Ice is going for Ray.
So you guys are painting to make sure that when the Ray comes out, you have a lot of space to move around, like when the fight is happening in mid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and they're not. So you guys get cap, which means you have all of this space in mid, which is great. And so they're going to have to force their way in, but they have a whole bunch of resources to do it. Let's see how this fight goes down. So one of them, oh, you get the K-52 immediately. That's beautiful. Let's see how that happens.
So Taco is shooting from stack, and then
Yeah.
I'm on the left side, the red side. Yeah, I was on the red side.
Synapse gets that one because I saw his wall up here, so I figured, okay, yeah, if someone hovers around here for too long, they're just gonna get K-52'd.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happens, which is awesome. So now you guys have numbers. You obviously still have to deal with the 2 remaining specials out on the board, 3 remaining specials actually. So the missiles go out, and looks like we're clumped up enough that the missiles, those are your teammates' missiles getting you there. So now it's a little bit more even. Bran drops down into enemy ink. I wonder what's going to happen. That's a TikTok that I made once. What happens to Synapse here?
I think he's. Oh, he gets bombed.
Yeah.
Probably by Big
Okay.
Yeah, by Big Wolf.
Yeah, that's a pretty good bet. You know, the wall's out there. They just got to pick over here. They have full map control. K-52 is probably going to return to zone and try and paint it, and so that's just kind of a good read, I think, on Bagel's part. I don't think he even needed to see Synapse to know that that was probably going to happen. So now they're rushing right stack on you guys, and this is just a great view for seeing what Super P's idea is here. Like, I love this this camera angle we're being given here. Okay, nice, great follow up there, and good job for Taco staying alive, using cover, using the paint that you guys had. Really well played skirmish into Slay. You pop missiles to capitalize on the numbers advantage, and now you're trying to push in. And ooh, they missed shots, so you're able to get that. Like, that's just kind of a 1v1 aim competition right there. So I feel like it's kind of lucky that you got away with that. Even your teammate was going to be able to trade back, so it would have been fine anyway. Like, it's still probably the right play. But you get a little bonus because they didn't quite hit their shots and you did. All right. So now we are in the lead, or at least like we've got the advantage, and we're trying to lock out. We're really, really close to these 2 specials, which is awesome. Having armor is going to help a lot with surviving the Ray here. And we use a super jump to get away from the Ray. So looks like Synapse went down somewhere. What happened there?
He got shredded. He was in Booyah.
Oh, okay.
I was a big switcher for a second, but yeah. He was in Booyah. He Booyah'd way too close to the plat and then got shredded. No, because a problem we have right now
is
was
Synapse
that
up here? Underneath the word event 2?
Yeah. The problem we have was that Taco wasn't booyahing back, so we weren't able to get his booyah like up in time because it was just me and Voice booyahing sometimes.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So yeah, we're starting to work on that.
Back, kids. It works even at top level. All right.
Because I noticed that versus Ryu, because I was like watching the Ryu setback that we had like next week or like the week after this one. I was like, why aren't you booyahing back? And she's like, oh, I just forget. I'm like, that's important though, because that's a booyah.
I like the way that I do it, and this is something that I've seen other people do as well, is I'll actually like move my right hand over to hit down on the D-pad so that way I can continue moving with my left hand just fine. And I've still got like, because I end up clawing at that point. Hopefully you can see on camera. I end up clawing so that I've still got my middle finger on the ZR button, and I've still got my pointer finger on R, but I just move my right thumb over because it's the, I'm less likely to need that in an engagement than anything else. And that's how I do it, and that way I'm able to continue playing the game while booyahing. So that's, I mean, I'm sure that other people are aware of that sort of idea, but that's something that I've found helpful, and if anyone struggles with that, hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, it looked like Synapse is really, really separated from the rest of you guys. And granted, there are specials falling, like I think the ray goes out here, the missiles go out earlier, so it may well just be that Synapse like ran to the left to get away from it, but like literally half the map away from the rest of the team, and that might be a little bit too far because there's no help for them if they get collapsed on here. And so this kind of ends up just being like them going down in a solo play and Starburst having numbers.
Yeah, I think he was asking for someone on the left side, and then Taco was like shooting over there, but they weren't really fully. Taco wasn't really fully committed, okay. So I don't think he should have been pushing up in that situation, since they were going to obviously go for specials at that point. So yeah, we have to back up here because every special and
the missiles. Okay, so we're going to take space using the missiles. We're going to get on the stacks here. And another missile goes out, which is awesome. I love the staggering of that, because right when they're about to be able to do something again, the next missiles come off. So this is great timing, and this forces them all the way back. Should probably be able to at least neutralize zone, yeah. Okay, so we're targeting Bran here and trying to, hold these guys. Something that Kalana has been talking about with my team that I'm seeing you guys do here really well is you're not taking two fights at once. You're more holding one side off while committing to the other side. Like, you're holding off Bagel and Biscuit on the stacks here for long enough for Taco to finish the pick on Bran, and then you're turning your attention to the right-hand side, which is really cool, because that makes it so it's less of a coin flip. It makes it so that you guys get to take your 2v1, but since you're able to stall, you're able to skirmish on this side, prevent these players from getting into play. That pick goes down pretty easily, and so now it's just like, can the Ray get a hero pick for them? You're able to trade back. It's 2 for 2 now. So let's see. Right. So right now it's 3v4 for Starburst.
But they don't. But the thing is that we have paint advantage as well. So we're in a really good spot here.
Back. You're able to go in. You get traded back. So this is just kind of a 2 for 2 trade initiated by Starburst, but you guys have objective control for the time being. Unfortunately, what happens ultimately is because Synapse is respawning. So the only person left on the map right now is Voice, and so Starburst actually has numbers advantage right now, because there's the Ray and then there's Bagel who's gonna push Voice, and Voice is in a spot they don't want to be in against a Zap, and so they're forced to jump out, and Starburst is actually just able to regain ground. So I think that the trades that they were able to get while they were down here are what really make it so that you guys don't manage to establish a strong hold. Because them getting Taco for free here, like, yes, you end up trading back, but then they trade back. So this doesn't change the numbers advantage, and because they're able to get those picks, this doesn't last anywhere near to penalty, and we don't end up scoring. So it's good that we got Cap in the first place, because that's going to slow him down a little bit, but you're probably not going to keep lead off of that, I wouldn't think. I don't know. Maybe you can save it in the last seconds here, because missiles have gotten popped, and of course we're watching this Zap farming armor. Come on. I can't see anything that's happening. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so missiles drop. They get forced back a little bit. They're a little bit split up.
Yeah, I didn't see Synapse. I thought Synapse lived there. He was in Bria, and I think he got shredded by Bagel, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, again with the whole not booyahing back thing.
Okay, this is... Bagel is... this is the second time we've seen Bagel last for a really long time. Long enough for help to potentially arrive. You do end up cleaning it up because this is literally just a 4v2 that you're ending up in on the left-hand side here. What causes that? Is that the missiles? It's probably the missiles. I think Bagel's trying to paint zone here. Yeah. Oh, this is actually a really good angle from Taco. Taco forces Bagel down in this direction. And then that gets them separated from, I think, Biscuit, who's up here. And now you guys are able to just hard collapse on this on left. Great recognition of that situation. Y'all call it, and y'all go in and get those picks. So now it's just 2 up. Taco, it looks like, is able to get ice out of there. And so now it's just Biscuit, and you guys are going to be able to recap zone here. We want to make sure... Okay, I guess a trade is fine. It's, you know, K52 for K52. You want to make sure that, like, the call...
I think he's going to go down anyways, though, because of the bomb on the wall. Actually, I think he went down to the bomb on the wall, not the K52 trade. I don't remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, the bomb would have gotten him, but I think he does go down to the K52 there. So, yeah, that works out. And what I was worried might happen there is that some of you guys go to paint zone, some of you guys go to fight, and the fight doesn't go as well because not everyone is committing to it, that like we're splitting our attention too much and not accomplishing either goal. But it works out. You guys have special advantage, and your K52s are going to be up at exactly the same time. Missiles come out. You hold them for a little bit to buy yourself some time.
Oh,
it might have been good. It might have been good.
No. Mm-hmm. Wait, can you go back a second? Can you go back like 10 seconds?
Like, is this far enough? Oh, shoot. Sorry. I just realized you're watching off of the stream, and so there's stream delay. Let me get a projection. That's not it. I want... Not the source. I want the scene. There we go. And there's that. Okay, now you can watch on Discord and actually see this in real time and answer where you want to be able to see. Is this far enough, right where Synapse goes down? Hello? Uh-oh. We might be having technical difficulties. Neat. Well, we'll wait for just a second, and in the meantime, I will finish that sandwich that I was eating earlier. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. Okay. Let's play forward again.
All right. And I am now streaming over Discord, and I also have food in my mouth. So give me just a second. I'm going to put my plate away, and then I'll be right back to it. And I'll give you some time to click into the stream, too.
Also, we're talking about this in the Squid School server, that you can DM comp players, by the way. Most of them don't really mind getting DM'd.
Okay, I'm back.
Usually, they respond really fast, too, because most of them are on Discord most of the time. The only times we don't really respond is when we're scrimming, but usually we're open to people asking for advice, because we want to grow our comp scene. That's how it's always been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I see people talking about it in general, about how you can DM top comp players, and they do respond, and yeah, that's true, they do.
Mm-hmm. Like, comp players realize, I think, that the more they grow the scene, the better they are going to get as a player. The more competition they will have, the more people who are studying it and figuring things out. More people just always makes the scene stronger. That's part of why Japan has historically been a stronger scene than NA. They just have more players than we do. I think it's like 80% of the Splatoon players are Japanese, something like that.
Yeah,
so
I would believe that.
It's like I learned this from like high school sports, where if your school is bigger, you're more likely to have, you know, that 1 in a million athlete. You just have better odds. It's better RNG that way. So yeah, we have top teams that can challenge Japanese teams. We just don't have as many of them, and there's not as much depth to that chart. So we have fewer different comps we can practice against, and fewer different play styles we can encounter. So anyway, all of that's just to say, if you ever have a question from like any figurehead of the Splatoon community, feel free to ask. It's not like they're getting bombarded so much by questions that they're overwhelmed and cannot help you. It's not like you're asking to play a 1v1 with LeBron James, okay? LeBron James probably doesn't have time to play a 1v1 with you.
LeBron James.
But like, we're not as big, so we have that sort of close-knit sort of feel to us. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you're able to see on Discord now?
Yes.
Okay, so Synapse goes down here, and you were going to talk about, I think, the thought process behind missiling?
No, Taco going down here. Because I saw Bran over there for a second, and I was like, okay, Bran's over there, so don't go on the stack. But she didn't hear me in time, and then she went on stack, and Bran got the pick, and then they were able to push down up because we went 2 down. So
yeah,
it was like another miscommunication thing where it's like sometimes that happens because we're a pickup, we weren't a team around then, so we didn't really have communication completely down at that point. So yeah, stuff like that happened.
It's that whole FLC quote, in a game of Splatoon, everything is constantly going wrong.
Yeah, because I was like, Brad's sharking over there, don't go over there, and it's like she went over there like for a second, and then yeah, Brad was like right there ready to pick her off, and it's like, oh no.
So the missiles get popped, and
but yeah, at that point we're gonna have to back up because yeah, they have all their specials, and it's yeah, they missile ray me.
What do you think about the idea of looking to missile the Stingray? It looks like it comes out like after you have decided where to fire the missiles, but my thinking there is kind of like, okay, there's about to be a ray, and there aren't that many targets for it to find, so it's not gonna be able to like transfer from one to another, and like we can't like trick it into thinking it's hitting the same person or anything like that. Like, maybe we need to disrupt the ray to stay alive here. That's something that I'm thinking, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
No, it's because before the game, or like when the game was going on, Voice said that he was gonna missile the ray. So I think he did. I don't remember if he did.
He definitely missiled.
Yeah, he right missiled
there.
the ray. Yeah, but at that point we were 2 down, and so
yeah, okay, and they don't quite come out fast enough to stop ice from killing you. Okay. So that's cool. That is actually a thought that was in you guys' head, and it was just somebody else who was going to do it.
Oh no. Yeah, he drops down by accident and then gets picked off. And then this taco
This
gets picked
squid
off.
is about to drop into enemy ink. I wonder what's going to happen.
Oh no.
I don't know if you've seen, but I have a TikTok where it's just 6 examples of players at various skill levels dropping off a ledge into enemy ink, and I say, I wonder what's going to happen, and they get splatted.
Yep.
There you go.
And I think they hold for the rest of the game here. Because we're like really staggered, I think.
Yeah, you're staggered pretty hard. They have pretty good control of the left-hand side now, so they're going to see you guys coming in. Your best bet here might be trying to hard force out left-hand side, because there are like 2 of them over there right now. That's what I'm thinking. I usually find that hard pushing out left is probably easiest for breaking lockouts on this map, because you have a little bit more cover to deal with the fact that you're at low ground, and you're able to access stacks if you win a fight here or there. So.
Yeah, hard pushing out right is not the play, because everyone has access to the right, so they can just spray it, and then like you said, you're dropping into a ledge. You're just gonna die, because most of the time there's someone like a try or like a carbon or a K shot or a K gal that's just sharking there, waiting.
Yeah.
Like you can
Off
see here,
of
Bran is waiting there to see if
yeah,
someone.
see if someone screws up. On rollout, I like going right a little bit better because you're able to paint yourself more of an escape route and have more places to back up to, because you can be pushed all the way up to court before they get anywhere that can challenge you. But in a situation like this where they're already in your street or whatever you guys call that, I think the official call it as plat for where Bran is right now, which never made sense to me. That always felt more like a street to me, but that's neither here nor there. I definitely agree. It looks like we're setting up for the push on left, and we've got a booyah ready to go. We throw that at a player who is missiled, and we end up getting the pick anyway, which is fine. So we should be able to probably cap here, I would think.
Oh wait, Cactus asked the question in the chat. Would it be best to solo missile array, or at least? I feel like you should solo missile array because that I forgot what it's like. The missiles are like evenly divided between the players, and so if you solo missile array, it's like I think it's like 12 missiles on a solo person, which is enough usually
10,
to get the ray. Is it?
If I remember correctly, it's 10 on a single player, 5 if you've got them on 2 different players, and then 4 if it's on everybody, 3 or 4. So
yeah, it's definitely better to get just the ray, to be honest.
It forces them to move more, which translates to less time that they're able to spend raying. One situation where you might consider getting other people in it is if they have teammates nearby, because remember, teammates' missiles are more dangerous than missiles that are on you.
Because can I add something? Because like the thing in top Splatoon is that you usually want to trade a special for a special sometimes, and so if someone pops one thing, you want to pop another thing to counter it. It's like rock paper scissors with like ink armor, missiles, and booyah, because each one of them like kind of counters each other in a way. And so the counter to Stingray usually is armor and missiles. And as you can see there, when he pops his ray, we have armor and missiles. So it's like a constant like game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, like they take an advantage, and so you either need to give up space in order to neutralize that advantage without going down, or you need to counter that advantage by, firing missiles at them to force them to move so that they aren't able to capitalize on their advantage, or using armor so that the fight that they decide to take doesn't end up actually splatting you, or displace you so that you're out of position and you're not able to move forward, that kind of thing. And something that's we've been talking about a little bit is the concept of tempo, which is like if you get the special first, if you get the zone first, if you win some kind of advantage for nothing, then you want to kind of keep that momentum going and pop specials faster or move up faster and take space faster so that you're always keeping yourself in a position where you can maintain.
If you want to see an amazing example of tempo, watch the Event 4 finals. Or watch the next finals and then the Event 4 finals. Those two examples are great examples of tempo. Because, actually no, Event 4 more. Because FT Win was really struggling at first. But once they got like a crucial like close game win, they were able to get the tempo. And they were able to completely sweep out DNA for the rest of the set. Because they were able to get... they were able to like compose themselves properly. And they were able to sweep them out. And so I feel like that set is like a perfect example of why tempo is such an important thing in top level, because it can usually lead to you completely like sweeping the enemy most of the time.
And tempo, it's a bit of a complicated concept to explain because there's an element of it that's psychological, where like you're just feeling like, okay, we've got this, here's what we have to do, and the pieces are falling into place. But I think, the way that it's been defined to me, it also has an in-game explanation, which is like, we are doing the thing first. You are reacting to us. We have first move advantage. It's like, going back to chess, which of course Juan doesn't play, but for those of you who do know it, white pieces have a slight advantage because they get the first move. Black is always reacting to the position that white put it in at the beginning of the game. And so if you're able to make your team the white pieces and just make the first move, a lot of the time that gives you initiative in a way that, you know, being forced to react to something won't. Like I would much rather be shooting at my opponent first than having to react to someone shooting at me. That's usually, if they're shooting at me, that's probably because they think they have an advantage and they're going to win that. So,
Yep.
anyway.
Got back here. But then
Okay.
we're like 2 down, so we can't really push up.
So, yeah, cap happens, and this is a great... I've lost track of where people are at this point. I'm going to back up a few seconds.
Spectator cam, dude.
So we're doing the push in from left-hand side. Synapse pops Booyah. Someone goes down to that. You're coming in from the left to flush them out, but you've gotten them already. It looks like Synapse turns away from the fight that you go down in here, which is unfortunate. I feel like I'm thinking as Synapse, like, I would rather take the fight with you on left, especially since you're so exposed otherwise. But, so you go down, and then Bagel is in the same position that he got you from, and he's able to take out Synapse. Because Synapse gets distracted by whatever's on right, and Bagel hits him from the side. So, well played from Bagel, of course. Taco's in some trouble because Bagel's going to be able to skirmish that, take, you know, an indirect shot, and then get away while the other player is closing in and takes out Taco. And now Bagel's really close to special. Just pops the armor immediately. They must have seen you guys advancing. Oh, right, there's a wall right in front of us. Duh. I'm like, oh, that seems a little early, but I guess he sees, oh, there is a K-52 that is pushing me. I guess we'll pop this and go in now. So Synapse gets backed up. Bagel goes for the bomb off of it, but doesn't quite reach. And somewhere along the line, Juan goes down in a position that we just cannot see at all because it's focusing on the zap again.
Oh, and then voice.
Yeah, the burst bomb there was nasty because it just paint all around his feet. This is a good angle for Brand to kind of... one of the weird little things about right side peek is that it also helps you hit up over ledges a little bit easier if you're looking up over the right side instead of the other side, because the weapon is out a little bit more, so you can angle it up a little bit better. So Brand's able to hit these shots here. And now we're staggered. Synapse pops the Booyah. Doesn't really have much of a choice but to try and go in here, but that is not really going to accomplish much. Oh my god, that was just a firing squad.
Yup.
So that one kind of felt like it came down to individual picks. It felt like there were a couple of situations where you guys maybe had a little bit of an advantage, where like you were about to start being able to set up, but then like Bagel or Biscuit came up with a pick that went unanswered or that's stalled for long enough for others to get in. So I think that, and that this seems kind of in line with what we were seeing earlier, that I think the time that you guys want to focus on the most to kind of figure out where you're getting beat by Starburst here is after you've made a successful defense. What do you do next? That seems to be where Starburst is executing more successfully than you are. It's like, how do you get map control back? How do you kind of like regain purchase once?
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that during our scrims, like the scrims we had leading up to like NA opens, that our defense was like pretty like not that good. Like we would often like just let people have like too much space, and then they would get like a pick, and then it would go unanswered, and that's a big problem that we had. So we needed to figure that out.
From what I've been seeing, it's not even necessarily like when you're on defense exactly. It's when you're trying to shift gears from defense to neutral to offense. So I think the defense, like, you guys are not staggering. Like, when, at least, that game maybe a little bit towards the end, but it was only like one player at a time. But like on the tower control match on Inkblot, like, there were so many situations that Starburst won over you guys where a lesser team would have fed and staggered and immediately gotten KO'd. And you guys were backing up and playing around specials and using the specials to get back in and to, like, not taking anything too greedy. There were a couple occasions where, like, Ice would just get a random pick over the top because he was playing Swiffer and you're not used to seeing a Swiffer in any of those positions. But overall, it felt more like you guys were able to get stops. You were able to use your specials and eventually get the tower to stop. And it was once the tower is stopped and you're trying to get back towards mid and, like, take advantage of that, that they're getting sneaky picks on you and being able to maintain their push. So it's like when you're shifting gears, like, okay, we need to paint up now. That's when you need to be extra careful about, like, sharks and stuff like that, because I think that's generally where things are going wrong in those transitional periods.
Oh wait, Char asked about our comp.
Okay. Asked
If you,
about, like, do you want to answer that question?
no, he was like, "Have you talked about our comp yet?"
Talked about, so, like,
Oh, V-Jet armor rapid kick out K shot. Oh, yeah. So he's talking about our V-Jet armor rapid K shot comp.
gotcha.
So how do you feel
I
about it? I think.
okay. Um, so, like, for this particular map,
Hmm.
you mean? So, I definitely like I like the armor rapid, because I think if there's anything that's likely to be able to counter something like a custom jet squelcher, it's probably that. You've got a wall to protect yourself from the very low DPS that it's able to put out. You're giving your teammates armor to protect them from rays, and you can hit up over the ledges where it wants to be sitting. So it seems like on, like, a lockout situation, which, I mean, we haven't been able to see you guys really fully transition into, but it seems like in those kinds of situations, you would be putting a lot of pressure on that jet that basically nobody else on the team can. And you're also playing really well off of the pressure being put on by it. Like, a lot of the time, you guys are supporting it really well and going in with it and stuff. So I think it's totally playable. The double missile, I like. I feel like there are very few maps where I'm actually going to object to double missile, and this is definitely not one of them. It's a very long, narrow map, which means you're going to catch a lot of people in missiles pretty much every time you use them. I don't know. I think it's largely very inoffensive. It's like you're both playing very meta comps, and the differences between your comps in a lot of these cases aren't especially noticeable, I think. So I guess comparing these two together, the Ray is an obvious difference. Like, you have all of the same specials otherwise, but there's the fact that there's a Ray here means that that's something that is going to be counterplayed a little bit differently. It's going to play a little differently into the rock paper scissors situation, and maybe in that sort of a situation, it might help to have more armors just to keep yourself safe from it. But I don't know. It seems like Taka was keeping up pretty well in terms of specials. Like, you can see it's 5 and 5 right here, which is pretty close to the end of the game. So it's not like they're struggling to get armor as compared to the Zap. And the Zap is probably going to spend some time fighting as well, which will take away a little bit of time maybe from what it could be painting. It doesn't seem like your comps are that different otherwise. It's like, we've got a Ray, we've got a Blaster, and that's about all that's changing. So it almost feels more relevant to talk about, like, how the two of you are playing the resources that you have than it feels to talk about how these two comps are going to play differently. I guess one thing that's happened a number of times is, like, the Rapid's a little bit more vulnerable because it can't paint its feet as well. So it's gotten caught out a couple of times. And the shooters, of course, are going to have a little bit less trouble with that. So you need to have a little bit of a solid base behind you guys so that the Rapid has escape routes out of bad situations. But even then, I've been pretty impressed with how Taco has been able to kind of worm away long enough to give you guys a chance to help engage. Is there anything in particular that you had questions about? Like anything that's do you have a question about how you think you should be positioning, or about how you want to use specials, like where you want people to take positions? Like we can look at a map and like here, we could look at a map and like plan out what positions we think people should be taking where, if that's the kind of conversation we want to have. I'm just looking at it like, yeah, this is pretty
I
normal
think
and
I think
covers all
Char was
bases.
asking about like in general, like how would we play our comp?
Okay. So
I
let's.
feel like you described it really well, to be honest, though.
Okay. Um, I'll throw a couple of things on the map and talk about it a little bit. We've got where's Kgal? There's Kgal, and then I hate how it just like puts them in these random places. Like the Kgal's down here, and then the K shot's over here, and the Jet's over here. Like what? They're not. This is off the map. I can't see it. And like trying to put a zap on a gray map like this. Good luck finding it. Anyway, here we go. So I think one of the big strengths of the blaster is clearing stacks, because AoE is really good for that. I would think on this map, you probably want at least a weapon that's going to do something over the top of ledges because of how important these stacks are. And the blaster definitely fills that role really well. I think you can also make the argument that the K52 is a really good thing for this, and you use it pretty effectively for that purpose, because like as soon as the 52 gets a wall out, it doesn't need to be hitting its shots immediately. It doesn't need to hit some crazy fall off. It can just walk straight up to the wall and now all of a sudden be on the same level as the opponent. I think this is a really good slosher map if anyone wants to play sloshers here, because they just control the stacks so well. And, Keo, you always see him running a slosher here. Not that he would run anything else, I guess, but I think, he's a good example of how well it can be used here. But a blaster is a pretty good replacement in that regard, and this blaster is also giving you a lot of utility against the enemy backline, so cool. And your K52 can also hold those kinds of positions. Missiles are really, really good here, like I've said, and you need a really good painting weapon that's going to be farming them, and K-Shot's going to do that really well, and it can also push in and take fights, because you've got two somewhat passive weapons, like weapons that aren't going to be able to just dive over a ledge on someone. And so I think you do a really good job of being in a central position so that as soon as something is going down, you're ready to help collapse on it. So like in some positions where like Taco's being rushed and is in trouble, you're able to rotate over here. And if Synapse has dove way in and needs some help in court, you're able to be there too. But having you positioned in a central location lets you have access to zone and also lets you support either of your teammates, which you can do very flexibly, and your weapon slays well enough that it can get there and, clean up when it needs to. And then I do kind of like having... It's not exactly double backline, because they're... Jet is definitely an anchor, but it can play up a little bit more, play a little bit more aggressive, and then Rapid is like... It's not a backline, but it's kind of an anti-backline in that it's a little bit shorter range, but it can still contest those backlines. And so it's able to push a little bit forward. It's kind of like the Jet Squelcher Explo comp that FLC talks about, where the two are able to kind of shift roles between each other because they can anchor when they need to, but they can also shift a little bit forward, and having the flexibility to do that instead of having to be an E-leader and be like, I stand on this square. It gives you the ability to flex to other parts of the map where fights are happening and kind of help each other out in ways that's, a traditional anchor. Because if you have two traditional anchors, if you have like an E-leader and a Hydra, you're really scared for your front line because they might just get into a position where they cannot get help. But it never seems like you guys are having that exact problem, that your frontliners... Well, okay, except when Synapse went like way over here and died. But it never seems like you guys are getting into that sort of problem where your front line is just going down because they don't have support from behind. You're positioning well around your backliners so that you're able to push in. I guess looking at their comp, like they're a little bit more aggressive, so maybe part of why we're having trouble pushing
I
in
feel
is
like
just that we have fewer weapons that want to
VJet,
initiate a push. Mm-hmm.
yeah, VJet's way less aggressive compared to CJet because CJet has burst bombs.
True. Um,
So he can just combo, hit one burst bomb, hit a 60, and then one shot basically.
yeah, and
He
that's
has
something that we do see in a number of places here that Ice is able to get using the C-Jet. Like, there was that situation where Voice was trying to jump out from here, and they just got, like, burst bombed to death. Another situation where someone was standing up here, and the burst bomb painted their feet. Bran was able to get him over the top. Um, so, yeah, I definitely agree that, like, it's a less aggressive pick than the C-Jet, and maybe that's an advantage that Ice has given this particular map. Because I feel like your expected counter to like the C-Jet raying is more having the armor and having paint to kind of run around away from it. But having the missiles is good. But yeah, if the main weapon and especially the lack of a sub is holding you back from being able to push forward, then that might be a concern that you want to address. Um, you only have
Um,
so many options for what else to play. Maybe.
no. So what we did for the third open, because we switched up our comp a bit. So instead of voice, we got thunder, and so we were able to put him on K shot. I went on zap, and then Taco was
Okay,
on rapid, and then Sinat. So we just switched around our comp a bit.
gotcha.
That worked out perfectly, to be honest.
Nice, yeah, and that's very similar then to what
They're
Stardust was
running
running, which is literally just swap the C-Jet out with the
a
rapid,
rapid.
and there you go. Um, I was thinking like if you still want the missiles, maybe something like a Flingza because you'd be able to use the roller to hit up over stacks, and it would paint a lot. Like that wouldn't be terrible. But I can't think of much else that you'd want to put in that sort of similar position that would also have missiles. Um,
Yeah, but all we did was like switch around weapon rules, and that worked out perfectly fine because with Zap and K Shot, we were able to play way more aggressively.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, let's see what happens in game 3 or 2, 3.
Oh,
Definitely
that's a
three.
good three.
Okay. So let's see here. Um, so we swap out the K-Gal for a Neo Splash. Um, so we wanted a Bomb Rush, it looks like. I guess Neo Splash is also nice for fighting around mid because it's so zippy and zoopy and can just go places. K-Gal does really well on this map too. And I guess you didn't know whether they were going to run a K-Gal because Biscuit did run it earlier, but I was just
Yeah,
thinking
especially
like,
not.
yeah, and that's good for you guys because they don't have a Booyah to counter your bomb rushes now, and they probably weren't expecting you to bring out a bomb rush because you hadn't run it so far, so that works out. I really do like Inkjet on this map. I think that's Inkjetting on defense in like this sort of area, like there's just so many open sight lines and it's so easy to project where they're going to go. And also on offense, getting it up over this wall or maybe getting it up in some sneaky location before they can see you and shoot you is really powerful. Just this whole area I think is really well controlled by Inkjet. And so I always run T-Tech when I go here, and Biscuit's pulling out the Nautilus probably for that reason.
Mhm.
And Bagels switching to Junior probably to farm more armors for the Inkjet. That is, I know there are other reasons too. There are other reasons too because they'll have bombs to pop the Rainmaker shield with, and to defend with. Bombs are just like really powerful on this map. And one criticism that I would immediately make of you guys' comp is that you have one lethal bomb.
Yep.
You've got a wall, you've got a toxic mist, and you've got a burst bomb. And I think that one of the strongest ways to defend the right side push, which is the most common one you're going to see, is just pepper this area with bombs here. So you, Juan, are going to want to stay alive so that you can get your suction bomb spam going. Because otherwise, you don't have. I guess you've got like maybe the Rapid could be up here firing shots, or the Jet or something. Like you've got some range. Um,
But
and
the
you've
thing
got
is, they're gonna
Toxic
have to deal
Mists.
with bombs because if Bran gets LDE and then Bagel is on Junior, so like they can just spam bombs as easily.
Mm-hmm. So it's like they spam a lot of bombs. Biscuit's got bombs. Ice is the only player without a lethal bomb there, and then we've got like Toxic Mist, so we can slow them down, so that
Mhm.
maybe you're able to get a bomb in front of them more efficiently. But like that's counting on both you and Voice to be up in this defensive situation. It seems tricky to stall them with this comp. It seems like you basically on defense need to be at a numbers disadvantage or a special advantage to be able to really stop the push dead in its tracks. Um, and then Ray, traditionally very strong in Rainmaker. You've got a very good alley to use the Ray from, going from their elbow and aiming at their goal. Clears a lot of people out that way in either direction, offense or defense. And that is, again, the most important corridor, I think, to have resources to get through. So let's see how this goes.
I think we get pop. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure we do because they're
Yeah.
not really contesting it. They're gonna go for
Yeah.
specials.
They're going for specials. So they get their armor. They're about to have the Ray. Um, yeah, I think Pop is like obviously always useful. And I think one of the really nice things about Pop on this map is switches over to looking at this map dot 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 and moves the weapons out of the way so I can doodle. Okay. I think one of the nice things about Pop is that okay, that's not accurate because it's gonna kind of do this sort of thing. So you get Pop and it's like that basically cuts off people on the left side from people on the right side if your team gets Pop, because the only route that they have to get from one to the other is right here, which is like the scariest place to be on the whole map. Like Trench just skeeves me out. You give height advantage, you're not even getting that much concealment from it. um, it's really easy to cut people off in this direction or this direction, and then their only way out is to get up over a wall. So when you get Pop, the ideal way to go from one side to the other is through mid, and you cut that off by getting Pop. So that is kind of nice.
But the thing about pop is that I just realized this now that if you get pop, then that means only one person on the team gets all that paint. Well, if you don't get pop, you can just paint over, and then all your members can get paint. So that contributes to everyone's special meter.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on how you're painting as you come out, because
Mhm.
usually like what'll happen is you'll
Because I
basically.
noticed throughout
Mhm.
all these games that Starburst, no one takes each other's paint. They all paint like different sides. Like Bran is painting like left plat, then Ice is painting right, and then Bagel is going far left, and then Biscuit's painting mid, so that they all have their specials up around
Mhm.
the same time.
Yeah, because it splits them, but early in the game, there's no way that they get rushed for being split, and so
Yeah,
it's
because if
okay
you
because
do
they can
that,
reform in the middle afterward.
you're just entering into their paint, and so they can just stand their ground, and then yeah,
Hmm.
unless
I
you have like a wall or something like Synapse or something, maybe
For
he could
sure.
do that.
Like I
But
think that
that's why Starburst is so dominant though, because they're able to always like what's it called? Stagger their specials in a way so that they always have something up.
mhm.
So they're so
Yeah, they are playing that really smartly. Um, I'd have to look at the numbers to be able to see. In fact, let's figure out who actually gets Pop here on your team. Like it's not popped yet. Okay, so Pop goes to the K shot. Okay, you're already at like 80 or something. So
yeah.
when you get the special, it's like okay, you didn't get all that much for it. But I don't know exactly how much special points the Rainmaker Pop gives you. I'd have to like experiment with that myself to see. But my thinking is like if you get into mid and haven't painted that much, then get pop, I feel like that's still improving your special advantage more, because you're going from like almost nothing to already having special while the rest of your teammates are getting special. So I could see it going in that team's favor still, because like that is a lot of special points that you could conceivably get from getting the pop, that would just like give you a free special. And you also like having the paint in mid is a tactical advantage, if not a special advantage, because now Biscuit can't just like walk into mid with charge. Biscuit has to like paint a path in front of him first and then move forward. So you're getting a little bit of tempo from this. So like, yeah, there's a lot that they're going to be able to paint to get specials themselves. But if you get specials first and then pop those specials effectively before they're able to bring their own specials to bear, you might still be able to gain advantage. Like, I think it's still good for tempo to get the pop.
Mm-hmm.
If you do want to start playing around who gets special pop, though, like maybe have the player who needs special the most at that moment to get the final hit, if you can arrange that, because, I mean, they're contesting it a little bit. It's a little bit messy. But that might be an idea. Like, you get it really, really close and then have a teammate throw a bomb at it to finish it.
I feel like it's not even that, though. I think Biscuit's just stalling out for Ice's Ray to get the pick, since Voice is also going to focus the Rainmaker pop, and that's probably why Voice goes down there, because we were focusing Rainmaker pop, and then he isn't able to like jump out in time for the Ray.
Yeah. So then Biscuit plus Ray plus armor is a pretty strong combo. They're going to be able to get to this corner and flush everybody out, especially... Oh, they also popped missiles. So they've popped all of their specials except for this Inkjet now. And they got one pick out of it, and they got Rainmaker and mid-control. This isn't necessarily the end of the world if you guys are able to respond well. Like, push to 41, okay, great. And, like, watch out for the Inkjet. You take the Inkjet down, they're 3 down. I don't think that's a good push from them, honestly. Like... I think they didn't do what we were talking about earlier, where they staggered their specials. Like, they had to use so many resources to push you guys out of mid because you guys had mid control, and so being forced to back up only puts you back a little bit on defense. You guys had a bomb rush ready to go. You got your picks, and the Inkjet was basically unsupported because the armor was already down. So that felt a little bit rushed from them. And you guys should be able to get something going stronger here, I would think. There's no specials on the board right now, but you do have a pick now, and so now might be a time to just try and sprint it for lead, which you do. Only get to 34, which isn't huge, and now they've got armor coming out, so now it's a little messier. Probably want to get out.
Oh, so... Wait, where am I in this part? Because I remember I made a mistake here.
I think what happened was you were over on left. Yeah, you're right here because you take out ice. And you paint the rail, and then we don't see you again for the rest of the fight. Because you're over here in like mid or something. I guess maybe do you pop
No,
missiles?
it might be a next.
Missiles.
No, it might be a next. It might be a next push.
Okay. But
yeah.
I was just talking the other day about having someone in mid here harassing from the side. I think having you do it isn't terrible because you've got suction bombs, which are good.
But the perfect person to do that would be Taco.
Absolutely.
Rapid.
Absolutely. So you guys have definitely thought about that. But yeah, like the fact that you have missiles combined with a bomb, it means you're going to be able to play that role pretty effectively, at least for the time that you've got your special out. And in a Rainmaker push, that's the entire push. So I think given the situation you were in, the pick you were able to get, and the value you provided from that, I don't think you're like wasting your time being here, like putting that pressure on, forcing them to look 2 different ways. I think that's a good play given the situation.
Yeah, so we punish them for the fact that they rushed the Rainmaker push, despite the fact that they could have just waited for Inkjet.
Yep.
Then we have another missile here. Okay.
So it's going to reset to neutral here, which, I mean, it puts the pressure on them to push out into mid. And it looks like they're trying to use some specials to get out into mid. I'm curious to see how this Inkjet goes. I traditionally don't find I have a lot of success trying to inkjet towards mid. Usually, I want to be either inkjetting on hard defense or hard offense, but like in mid, I'm like, the likelihood I get value out of this is relatively low. Okay. And that's one place where you can often get value with the inkjet. If I do try an inkjet like that, usually the pick that I'm going to get is going to be in right pit or left pit, I guess, from my perspective. But like the slopes make it really easy to just kind of get away from inkjet shots. It's not like anyone's caught out in the open for very long. So
I think I was trying to jump out there because I was like running away
mm-hmm.
from the yeah, I was trying to run away from the left side.
Let's see.
Yeah, I was trying to run away, and so I just got caught.
Mm-hmm. So they get one pick. They get Rainmaker Pop. They don't have an awful lot more. You've got your missiles to counter their Ray. And you're going to be spawning in again before they're really able to get around the corner. So this isn't a terrible spot. They're going to pop quad missiles and Ray. This is really dangerous. The armor absolutely has to go out to counter that. One goes down anyway. I didn't mean to say one goes down anyway, but it kind of sounded like that.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, and then Taco gets picked off by burst bombs, I think. Or something similar to that.
There, a bomb gets thrown. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe it's a bomb. No, that blew up too fast to be a bomb.
It was probably a Rainmaker.
It was maybe a bomb off the wall?
Maybe.
Rainmaker. Oh yeah, they fire a shot up here though, or like at the wall or something. I don't know.
I don't know. She just died.
Yeah, we were looking at the elbow and we could not see Taco at all.
And Biscuit gets a pick on voice.
So, yeah, they have a really strong special push here, because they're able to get those missiles and that Ray. Like that's just really nasty positioning for all of that. That's your dream, because you guys have to spread out and that paints the entire plat and that makes it harder for you guys to move around from the Ray. Like
because look, Biscuit was already on our plat.
Mm-hmm. All four of you guys getting caught with missiles is just rough.
I think, yeah, and then Synapse stalls with Bomb Rush.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah, the Bomb Rush is a really good play here, and that's probably exactly what you guys are running it for. So they have to wait and love the burst bombs, slows them down a little bit, but they probably get lead. Not a huge lead.
I think they win with this lead. I don't remember though. Ray. So yeah, they just have so many specials. Ray, missiles. Oh, but here I think I win a crucial 2v1.
Oh, yeah. That's the same moment that we were talking about earlier, where Brandon and Biscuit try to walk around the corner, and you just like accidentally get both of them at the same time.
Yeah. So here I think is where I made the mistake though, because I think since I got those two picks, I was running here, but then Taco told me to go right side, but I went left instead.
Yeah.
And so I should have just gone up with Synapse, and because of the hesitation there, I think Synapse goes down because he's stuck in like a 2v1, I think.
Yeah, this is a position where your effectiveness is really limited.
Yeah, because then I have to go on the flank, and that flank takes like a good 5 seconds, and by that time, Voice was pushing up.
Yeah. And so Synapse is kind of left alone here, and gets away from the inkjet, which is good, but yeah, I think having you with Synapse pushing around that corner is a lot more effective than just the one, because they were able to focus all of their attention on the Rainmaker, and your team wasn't.
Okay, and then Voice gets picked off again because of the jump. I think he's jumping in. I don't.
Oh.
I think he's jumping in, but yeah.
Yeah. And I totally get wanting to jump in a position like that, because like they've been playing very aggressive with their jumps and keeping map control quickly. but that's
But
just
the thing
like
is,
too much
voice
enemy
is
ink
up.
around it.
Yeah.
I need to make a short at some point about like the thought process of when to make a safe jump. This is more for the sake of reminding myself than it is for talking to you guys who obviously know what a good jump looks like. But
Yeah, sometimes when we're jumping in, we can tell, oh, this is a bad jump. Oh, we're dead.
right, it's like you press the A button, and you're like, ah, I should not have done that. You see this one little splat of
no,
enemy
I
ink
had,
going down to the ground near it, and
I
you're like,
think,
oh, I'm dead, aren't I?
I think, I think before, I think like 2020, I had like a bad jumping in problem where I would jump in like most situations, but then I fixed that around, yeah,
Mhm.
around like last year. I fixed that problem where I would jump into most situations,
It's like
but
I feel like in most cases you can jump to someone. It's just a matter of finding the right player to jump
yeah,
to.
like don't jump into a situation where it's like it's obvious they're gonna get like trapped in like enemy ink.
I'm gonna jump to my front lining rapid blaster right now. That's gonna work out, right? Like
Yeah.
if you jump into the one behind that player, then even if the rapid goes down, well, at least you made it in. So.
Mhm. Like you want to have a presence on the map, but you don't want to have the wrong presence on the map, or you
Right.
just die.
So, looks like Taco jumps out there. I think is what we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're dipping out of there. We've got someone on the rail who is now in a lot of
that's
trouble.
me. That's me.
And
Yeah, and then I jumped out as well.
we've got this. You know how in Star Wars at the like the end of the movie where they're like flying away from the exploding Death Star, like that's kind of what this looks like right now. They're just like barely making it out before the explosion happens around them. Okay, so we're all alive, but we're definitely not in position yet. And with the Rainmaker firing a shot, oh no, that okay, never mind, we're not all alive.
Yeah.
I thought that was a jump
got
back to spawn.
No, I got caught in the crossfire.
Ooh, okay, this
And this is like actually, yeah, this is
clutch bomb rush.
clutch bomber. Yeah.
And like that is definitely a valid reason to bring that weapon on this map. I'm just thinking like, how can we get more bombs than just like expecting a bomb rush to be ready every time? So I think if you had more bombs, like what you would be able to do is stop them from walking around this corner like Biscuit's doing right now. That's really where a lot of pushes can stall out if you have a bomb spam comp. Before, remember when you had the missile and ray situation, that did a lot, but a big part of it, like you mentioned, was the fact that Biscuit was able to just walk onto window and be following up with it. And that doesn't happen as easily if there are just bombs being pelted at him. Just like throw rocks at him. And you can keep him out of that. So bomb rush does come in clutch, and Biscuit's not able to spot it and splat it, so we're good there. Biscuit drops out of there, and Shark gets them, but you get the Shark, so good trade back. So I think this is a pretty successful defense. We've got a minute and 20, so we've got to think of this as potentially the last push of the game, maybe the second to last if we're able to really get back on top of things, but this
So yeah, this is the part where we have to focus on mostly Ice because he's gonna try to save Ray in their spawn,
right.
and we need to pick that off.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that's definitely not going for you guys is specials right now. Almost nobody has any charge.
Yeah, I just popped my missiles, I think.
Yeah.
Me and Voice both just popped our missiles to back them out of mid.
So.
And I mean, we did, but like, we're not gonna have any specials to push up for a bit.
Right. So it's like maybe what you do here is you use the pop in mid to get special charged for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That should help a little bit. Yeah. We can actually probably just look. So Synapse is the one who gets it.
Stuff. Yeah, he goes from
and
50 to
51
80.
to 80. Yeah. So it's about 30. So actually, when you got it earlier, you were at like 78 or something. You didn't actually waste that much of it.
No,
So
I was at
that's
85 when I got it.
I thought you were like 70 something, but
No, I was at 85.
all right.
I wasted like half of it. That's fine.
Run away!
Oh, yeah, and they have all their specials, and then
Yeah, and they do use all of their specials here, and that was something you were able to punish them for before. Like, as soon
but
as
this
you
time we
see
didn't have the space to
all,
do that.
yeah, as soon as you see all of that getting popped, the play is like, get out, stay alive, and then as soon as we're back, that's when we start kind of rushing in and doing things. Like right now is where they're vulnerable because they've used everything. But because they got a pick and they got themselves some space, it doesn't look like it's having that big of an impact. You do get the junior. Oh, okay, the Rainmaker carrier.
Oh, and then oh, that
Okay,
was
they get ice, which is good. Oh, but this is
oh,
such a nasty
yeah.
flank from Biscuit. Okay, what can we do here? It feels like we're playing a little too hard to try and get Rainmaker right now. I don't know. Because, like, there's not a lot of paint on left, so they have a way in, and the missiles are falling. We don't have a way out through trench. We don't have a way out through mid. Like, we're starting to get hemmed in here. And so when Biscuit shows up, I mean, granted, he's a Nautilus, and he's going to shred really quickly, but there's just no running away from this. Like, look at how yellow it is around you guys now.
Yep. And then Taco has to fight here. Or no, jump out. And then I'm gonna have to paint for missiles here. I'm close though.
So you've got missiles armor. Not super close to bomb rush, unfortunately, but you'll probably have it by the time they're starting to push.
I think we do get an OT push.
Okay. So there goes missiles armor. And we're just using this to kind of get out and paint
But then look how close Ice is to Ray. And he's in such a good spot too.
I'm almost thinking like the way that they backed up there, you might not have needed both missiles and armor to get out. Like maybe you pop the armor to get out and see if there's resistance, but it didn't look like the missiles really...
Yeah, because they're going to back out, obviously, because like...
It's the end of the game and they're going to try and save specials and stuff. So they're not going to like aggress off of that.
Oh, yeah. And so we weren't able to pick it up because of everything around it.
Because the missiles and the inkjet, yeah. I mean, it was really close. Like, it's... They didn't make a much better push than you guys did. The one time that it happened, they got you on a stagger. I think, like, more so than worrying about how you played the end game there when they already had their lead, we want to focus probably more on the scoring push that you guys got and how you might have made it better. And the two defenses where they pushed their lead a little further.
I should have just gone with signups. That's what me and Taco were talking about after the game. Like, I should have just gone with signups. I shouldn't have hesitated to push up with them because the hesitation led us to not getting like a better push because we could have totally gotten a better push there.
Yeah, so that's one, decision that could have gone differently. There are definitely others, but again, like, you guys are going toe-to-toe with the best team in North America. You're super, super close to being able to take games. You're able to, if I put one of them versus one of you in an even position 1v1 mechanically, it feels like a coin flip to me. Like, you guys are able to capitalize on positional advantages. It's not like these guys are superheroes compared to you guys. It's just like they're a coordinated team who's been together for a long time and have a slightly more developed game plan. And they have a few tricks here and there that they're throwing out at you. So, like, a little bit more coordination, just a couple mistakes that don't happen, and this could definitely go your way. And the 3-0 like doesn't tell the whole story, I don't think.
Yeah. So there's another.
Is there a game 4? Is it a best of 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a best of 7.
All right, so we got one more to talk about.
Oh yeah, so this game was really fast, by the way.
Okay, well,
I don't even remember what happened that much. I was just like, oh.
Well, we
okay.
died. Okay.
No, you're gonna see.
Neat. All right. So completely different comp now. So that'll be interesting to talk about. On their side, they're bringing a bomb rush. They've got. So no, they're not bringing any lethal bombs. What gives? Um, no, oh wait, no, this is Clam Blitz. I still feel that my personal opinion, and this is not backed up by anything that I've heard anybody else say, but I personally think that lethal bombs are most important in Rainmaker, but are second most important in Clam Blitz. Because in Clam Blitz, there are like at most 2 positions where you can throw clams from, and you can just bomb those places. And like, what do they do? How do they get in? I feel like that's like the easiest way to stall on defense. And so I like having at least 2 or 3 lethal bombs so that we could just keep them spammed on those positions and give them very, very narrow windows to ever get in, even when they do open the basket. So that's my take on it, but I'm sure that there are other philosophies about it as well, and that these weapons are definitely providing value. So let me think about this. Neo Splash. So we're going to have Bomb Rush, which again will be good for clearing baskets, and it's just very fast, zippy weapon, good for sharking, good for using ledges to their advantage. Overall, you can't complain too much if they're bringing a Neo Splash somewhere. Zap, which we've had basically all game, or all sets, except for when they were playing Junior. Bamboo. It's going to be good, I think, for helping them control straight line positions like street and bridge, which are important on this map. Like, this is how you get to the scoring position, and this is how you control mid. It's also going to be pretty good for underneath, like on tree and stuff. There's just a lot of like wide open area, and that's going to give them some advantages against frontliners. And maybe they're trying to use it to, get in range where they can get picks on the rapid or something like that. So that's an interesting adaptation. I'm curious to see what ICE ends up doing with it in the long run. It is also a source of missiles, so that's something within ICE's tool bag that you can pull out for that. Interesting that I wouldn't think that he'd want to opt for this over the Jet Squelcher purely for the main weapon purpose.
I feel like it is the main weapon purpose, because usually I see
sorry, not the sub weapon. You're right. It would basically just be for the bamboo, because with a jet you're just getting toxic mist, which isn't going to do much. And with bamboo, curling bomb, you're not going to get much.
With bamboo, Ice plays really aggressively with it, because you can do that with bamboo, where you can just push up with it.
Yeah, he's going to be doing that sort of Squiffer playstyle. Maybe not like hopping up over ledges quite the same way, but I could definitely see him trying to control your street or something with that.
Being able to get fast kills like a Squiffer.
And then K-Gal, going to be one of the best weapons for contesting bridge in the game. Any weapon that can contest a Tentabrella pushing across bridge on Reef is a dumb weapon. it should not be able to do that. Anyway, so you guys pull out a vanilla 52.
Okay, I don't remember what's on him, to be honest. I think it was like a last minute thing where he was just like, "Oh, I want to go K52 or V52," and I'm like, "Sure."
So there's point sensor, which is maybe
right.
Maybe it was the point sensor, because maybe what he's trying to do is okay, we're getting sharked a lot on trying to push out of our base.
You want me to ask him?
Sure.
Because I know he remembers too.
Because one thing about this map that I'm thinking about now is that getting out of base, you have to drop over ledges. And so being able to ping those and know where people are if they're sharking around your car or you're downstairs, I could see, I'd still probably rather have a lethal bomb to do that, but with a 52, it's probably the best information gathering you're going to have. The baller, that's 2018 Clam Blitz meta. Maybe if you're trying to just exactly right. I used to do that all the time and just get shredded and die, or get the clam jump in, get to 80, and then both of us die and be like, "That was great, good job, guys!" Like we had accomplished anything. I guess maybe if you're trying to make hero plays through their closed, a baller is a really good way to get someone in position for that jump. The baller play is probably better on this map than most, at least in that position, because the baller explosion will force them behind car and might camouflage the jump a little bit better than if it were way out in the open.
Okay, so I asked him and he said I couldn't tell you either.
Okay.
So he just decided to pull it out.
You just had a hunch. You wanted to do it. Alrighty, well. So we've got everything else relatively the same, except instead of the Zap, which you had been running before, we're running a Junior. Or no, you hadn't been running that before. You guys were running... who did you have on armor before? It was the Rapid. So you're running double armor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't hate double armor for this. Like, I think Clam Blitz is a mode where it probably plays the most like Splat Zones because the objective doesn't move and you're just trying to control a certain space around the objective for a significant amount of time. And double armor is really good for that because you're able to stagger the armors in and just always have armors as people are dropping down on you. So that's not a bad thought. It gives you missiles to get in with and I guess baller to get in with for what that can do offensively. But it does feel like you might have some trouble with pushing specials here. Let's see what ends up happening, though. It's like, I'm just thinking, a booyah bomb. Yeah, pushing in with a baller, sure, but pushing in with a booyah bomb. Okay, so we get a very fast armor on the Junior, which we can do and pop it immediately to try and go for immediate bridge control. We have 3 players looking at bridge. We've got a whole bunch of bombs going over the top of bridge. We get a pick. We pop missiles. This is looking really, really good. Very well played. I'm still thinking about Synapse just being like, I don't know, man. I just did it. And we pop
baller for survivability.
And I mean, to be fair, the baller does get him up here, and it gets him up here faster than a booyah would.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Doesn't get him any picks, and it doesn't displace them as hard, but it allows him to take this position at least. Now the problem is the Bagel dropped out from left here. Wait, what? Bagel didn't drop out from left. Bagel's like already
he's
left.
Still there.
He's like at your tree. What is going on?
I guess he's there killing him in the paint for more. No, he didn't die. He was still alive the whole time. He just sat there.
I think he like dropped off of. Oh no, that's who they're shooting at. So you shot at him, and he ended up having to run all the way back to tree because he was getting forced out of his own street. But
yeah, I think we just ignored him.
He stayed in that position, and he was able to, because he pops armor here. He stayed in that position, and then he was able to apply pressure on the off angle because, and I think that's a smart thing to do, because in the position that he's in, he's got the option to either stay there and try and make something happen from where he has now found himself, or
distract us.
Like, because like he's over here. He either jumps back to spawn and comes in at the exact same angle that his teammates are about to because they're all down, or he just bides his time, and then once his teammates are back in position coming in from these kinds of angles, he applies pressure here, and now he's got more of a pinch. So this is honestly a really smart play. It also gives him access to a lot of paint over here, which will give their team faster access back to your goal when they try coming back in. So now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, he definitely does seem isolated and like something that you guys could collapse on, but by the time he's going in, you're already committed to trying to score on the basket. And even if he does go down, it's like, okay, well, good job. You killed the Zap who didn't have any special charge, and you lost your scoring push.
Yeah, so that's why we just ignored him.
Yeah.
And then, he just died anyway?
He just dies. Well, there's the downside to that, I guess. And like if he coordinates that with like Brand pushing in on Synapse from this side, now I like that push a lot better. Because like, who can help that? I guess maybe Taco can potentially put a shot over or something like that, but Synapse is really exposed here if those two collapse at the same time. But because Bagel just kind of wanders into enemy ink, it doesn't go too hot. So I like that you're not going in and hard engaging on Biscuit. You don't need to. You have teammates controlling the basket on the other side, and Um, I just want to take a second for my audience to explain that this is a very, very, very good clam push for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're not worried about throwing all of their clams in at once. Number two, they're protecting the basket while having someone go and collect clams. Number three, they're engaging on multiple angles so that you can't just have three people diving on the person who's throwing clams all at once. If they all dive on Taco here, then Juan and Synapse are going to be able to pinch in and get a bunch of picks off of that. If they try and hard engage on Juan, he just backs up like he's doing, and the other players below keep scoring. There's no winning here if you hard commit to one side because of the way that they're attacking from every available angle. And because Synapse is now cleared the one person who can defend from the left-hand side, they're all bottled up in the same place. They have to look in different directions while you guys are all looking in the same direction, and we'll be able to see the play developing. This is just great positioning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they just bombard you with specials, and that's how they manage to almost clear the goal. And even then, like, this sort of thing can still happen. Even once they start really resisting, if one person can sneak in to throw in like one clam or two clams, that keeps the basket open another 3 seconds, and maybe that gives you enough time to get another sneaky clam throw in. And it also gives you more points. And like, now they've used 3 specials, and their basket is still open.
But here's the part where Synapse is like separated from the rest of us, and we all go down. He's the last one alive.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, you know, we don't have a lot of an escape route through mid right now. The Booyah, I think, landed behind you guys earlier. Yeah, because that's all painted now, and then the Booyah goes out behind you to cut off that escape. You also haven't painted this wall yet, so you don't have that way out onto Sneaky. So everybody is funneled into this angle right here. And so Bran, Biscuit, and later Bagel are going to be able to collapse on that really hard unless you can sneak your way out. And one of the annoying things about trying to escape in that direction, because I do like escaping in this direction under most circumstances, but part of the thing that sucks about it is that in order to get to here, you need to go this way and then come back towards the players who are chasing you. So you can kind of get bottled up in here if they hard commit to it. And that's exactly what's happening. And they get a whole bunch of picks just by capitalizing on that position. So good use of specials for them, but you did get a really strong scoring push off. And that's something that, you know, puts a lot of pressure on them and also took away a lot of resources from them. Like, yeah, you guys are going down, but they also don't exactly have specials left after being able to do all that. So they're not going to be able to just overwhelm you immediately as soon as you get out of spawn. Like, you're going to at least have some space or some time or some ability to charge special before they're in a position to do anything again. Overall, I think it's a good thing. Interesting that Bagel picks up the Pity Clam. I guess they're seeing that there's a scoring opportunity developing and that they want to be able to put the clam in the baskets without having to make a clam by traditional means. Typically, what I would expect to happen is they get control of an area near the basket, they throw clams at the person who is the most, and they make it that way to maintain stealth the whole way. And also so that they have a Pity Clam so that, you know, if they need it later on, they still have it. I guess with 3:38 left on the clock, they don't need to worry too much about saving their Pity Clam. But this isn't a play that I would normally expect. I'm curious to see what happens with it. Okay, so it looks like Biscuit was trying to like beeline for close because it looked like it was empty and then it wasn't. And so now he's like, oh, well, that's lame. Yeah, but there's definitely someone watching this already, which is important. Bagel wanted it. Bagel wanted to go for it. It is also a possibility that what Bagel is doing is trying to like bait someone out of position, bait someone into overcommitting to try and chase the clam down and stop it, and maybe give. Is this Ice? I can't tell from the name, but
Bran.
Oh, Bran, you're right.
So they're waiting for Bran or Biscuit to get a pick here.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like force
by
the
making
player
someone like
at the
focus
basket
on Bagel.
Yeah, and have Bran at an off angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is actually something that I talked about in the Grim Range Blaster to X videos, except I was doing it to A rankers and just baiting them into getting directed by me.
but obviously we didn't fall for that.
Yep.
Or,
Um,
we kind of did. Never mind.
well, let's see what happens, because
We all try to collapse on. Oh wait, Taco accidentally falls in.
Tacos. Yeah, that must be an
Yeah,
accidental fall. I can't think of any other reason they would want to be here right now.
yeah.
Um,
I think that was an accidental fall, and then
and then the
all of it.
player who is with Taco backing them up is now stuck.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh
And
man, one at a time too. How does voice get in? Are you just both there? Yeah, you're both there.
yeah,
Oh man, that's so unfortunate.
because we were both looking at Brand trying to push it, and then yeah, Synapse is left alone. All he can do is collect climbs to stall. I think that's what he tries to do. Or he's sharking for a pick, I think. But yeah,
So
Biscuit's gonna come up here with the wall, I think, and kill him.
so you're stalling out the left hand side while Synapse stalls out the right. Um, with even like a mid level team, I'm worried about a play like this because you're so isolated. But
But
with a top
that
level team, I definitely trust that you guys are going to be able to keep yourselves safe enough most of the time.
what's bad about this was that they got all those picks without wasting a single special.
Mm,
And so they all have their specials. Look, they all have their specials to push in.
yeah, they're
Like
just
they didn't.
firing shots. They didn't use anything.
Yeah, so they all got those picks, and then they all have their specials so that they can keep stalling the clam basket.
And two of them saw the opportunity to just make two power clams, and they were still going to have more to keep. So they get all this burst scoring, and they make sure to sprint to lead
Hmm.
before they do anything more. Um, looking at it, okay, Bagel is going to be able to get in just in time, maybe? They trade
I
up
think
top,
so.
which is fine, I think. Given the situation, like V52 versus K52, I'm like, okay, well, I'll take a trade. Uh, but can Bagel score more is a question.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
they
think
do
so.
get a little bit more. Ooh. They're playing it really close with the timer. My thinking was, okay, maybe I take it back about wanting two power clams in because maybe the one who made a second power clam at the basket rather than the one who was holding the pity. Maybe they should have just kept the 9 clams because if they just keep throwing those, they're going to get 27 points instead of getting 20. Um, but it ends up working out because all they really need to be doing is running and getting one set of 4, and they're doing that fast enough and creating enough opportunities for themselves that they do keep the basket open afterward. It's like they could be down to 8, I guess, if they had not made the power clam. But also, I guess that forces that player who is already up here to take on the clam throwing role when they're in a better position to be aggressing from this position and slaying. I don't know. It's a nitpick. They're winning the game. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that
Yeah,
one fight is just where we just get bottled up in one spot, and they get one pick, which enables them to snowball in and clean it all up. That one mistake is all that costs you the game there, really, because
yeah,
everything up until the beginning of that was like really well played. I think um, you guys like play for mid control really well. You take advantage of your weapon's strengths, and you get a wall up in mid. You have all of these bombs supporting mid. You put an aggressive weapon over the top in mid, but you back them up with all of this crossfire. You get someone that way, and then
yeah. You never want to let that happen. Like let them get three of or more of you guys down without them at least wasting one or two specials.
right,
Like because that's just letting them get the staggered specials that they want, and it led to them getting the victory because
yeah.
of that one mistake. Yeah.
It's interesting that both of these pushes start off of a successful fight where the defending team is holed up in this corner right here. Like, you guys win by pushing over bridge and cornering them here, and they win by cornering you guys over here after picking Taco. So maybe that's something to think about. Like, maybe we don't want to bunch up here because that has tended to lead towards these game-winning pushes.
Yeah, because the anchor is on bridge and they can just spray into that corner so easily,
Mm-hmm.
either bamboo or rapid, and yeah, it leads to either team getting wiped.
Yeah, my major competitive team for a long time had a Hydra main on it. I know all about that bridge.
I think. Do I remember one time where? Oh yeah, Bagel went Hydra on the reef on that map, and yeah, we almost won that match, but a low booyah costed us.
Mm. But yeah, it's so impressive how they're able to capitalize so hard off of that one fight. Like, this is Clan Blitz. This is like the slowest scoring game mode. Except for maybe like Tower, I think. And it's just like, nope, game over. So we'll watch that in real time one more time. So,
yeah, that game was really fast. It was like 2 minutes long.
So yeah, Bagel's trying to bait out, and Bran is looking for picks on someone to drop after them. And then the rotation to the right is interesting here, like, because Bagel's doing this before anybody goes down. So it seems like what happened was they were looking at you guys and like, okay, well, they're not letting us in on left, but we know that at least one of them is very hard committed to left. So maybe now that we've drawn them over to the left, we can rotate our offense right and catch out the players who are defending on right. Because you guys are spread out right now. Kind of similar situation to the beginning of Inkblot Tower, where there's a lot of space in between you and you're not able to like jump in to help each other in fights. Like Synapse is super isolated, and now we're able to just kind of run over here and find 3 people all in the same spot and shoot them from different angles. So it might be that the lack of mid control was a problem there too. Granted, I'm sure that happened on the back of some kind of advantage that they won. What happened here? Okay, they get 3 down in this fight. Right, because they corner you over here, and then that allows them to take mid, and so because they have mid, they're able to make that rotation through mid. Okay, so that makes sense. So really, maybe the fact that you all went down there is actually the catalyst to all of this.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have lost all that map control that we lost really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because we lost basically all of mid in that one fight, I think.
Because looking at this a second time, I'm looking at Bagel rotating, and I'm like, he's not rotating because someone went down. He's rotating because he expects someone to go down. Like, sitting on the back of a wall with a power clam against a rapid blaster, like, that seems scary to me. That seems like something where you're going to get pre-fired or something. But for whatever reason, he happens to know when he rotates the power clam underneath the bridge at you that that's going to be a play that his team can back up. So that's interesting.
Maybe it was Taco trying to shoot down Bagel that led to that play. Maybe that she accidentally fell. I don't.
So maybe. We got one person here. We got one person here probably, and then 2 here-ish. So when they try to push in this way, and they've got Bran here. Please let me grab it. Okay, so this player and this player are able to stop that push from developing, and these 2 are able to stop them from like overrunning over bridge. So for now it works out. But then what they do seems to be they bring someone back here, have someone over the right-hand side, and then take the player who was here contesting this and bring them this way. And now this player is really screwed because they're getting hit from multiple angles. This player made the mistake of dropping down or got forced down by a bomb or something, and this guy's just completely out of play. And this player tries to help, but they can only help in the same direction, and so everyone's already looking at them. So that seems to be how this play develops. And granted, like, it is a 3v3 over here, but it starts right off the bat of this player getting pushed out. So I don't know to what extent that was a set play now that I'm looking at it, and to what extent it was an improvisation. But that rotation, I think, catches you off pretty hard. Let's look at the KAs at the end. Pretty even.
Yep.
And pretty even number of specials, too. So, yeah, it really is just that one play. that one play that led to that other play, and game over. I think it's like the fact that you wiped twice in a row, because you wiped once and that gave them mid control, and then you wiped again, and that really set that really gave them what they needed. If you wipe once, but then you're able to kind of stage a defense, that's a lot less of a problem. But the second wipe really did you guys in, I think. So,
Mhm.
all right. Well, really appreciate you, being on stream with us and sharing your thoughts. Like, it's it feels a little surreal that me who has not played at this level is being asked an opinion on this, but I'm glad that you were willing to kind of talk about what your thoughts were and help educate the audience, and really value the input that you're bringing there. So
We can do next set if you want to,
there's
or
another set.
like another. No, we played event 3 as well. I can give my input on that.
Okay, sure thing, sure thing. um let me
But
just
that
take
set was really one-sided on our side, though.
let me take a quick look at one thing. um I want to make sure that I think I had something else I needed to do today, but okay, no, it's not till a lot later, so I have some time. Okay, so this is going to be event 3 to Inkopolis Showdown 2022. Oh, I typed that out without. Event 3, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Starburst and FT win. So is it finals?
Yes.
Okay. Was it against DNA?
Yes.
I am getting so unlucky and just clicking when they are commentating. Okay. Is this game 1? It's not telling us whether this is game 1. Scroll really slowly. Okay, yeah, this is definitely game 1 because they were showing the tournament bracket before this. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break and just run and use the restroom really quickly. But I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Are you still there? Did you step away? One is muted, so we'll give him a second to come back. Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, so we're back.
Welcome back.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. So, all right. So I'm a lot less familiar with DNA. I've only just started hearing their name as a team recently. I know about Luke. So I've seen that name in a number of different places. And I think I've seen Landon before, but I don't know if I recognize the other players here.
Landon is Whoop. He used to go by Whoop. And Helix is Josh, if you remember him from like a year ago.
I don't think I do, but
He was like a charger. He was like a top charger.
oh,
Man.
okay. Oh, like JAWSH.
Yes, that's him.
Oh,
That's
okay,
him.
okay. I remember.
He just changed his name, yeah.
All right.
And then who else do they have? They have Dark, I think, right?
Dark and Helix, yeah.
Oh yeah, Dark is from Arctic Moon. If you remember
Okay,
them.
I remember Arctic Moon. I just don't remember that name.
Yeah, he was the captain of Arctic Moon.
Okay, that makes sense. Wait, so did Arctic Moon disband?
Yes, they disbanded like
Oh,
6 months ago, I think.
big sad, big sad. I was a fan. Okay. All right. So this was the one where you said you had Thunder on your team this time. So you had a little bit more aggressive a comp. You were getting your missiles from a K-shot instead of from a jet. And you're still able to run pretty much exactly the same comp. And now, hey, your tag is NerfNZap, and look at what you're playing. They didn't nerf it. They still haven't nerfed it. Nintendo's not listening. So
I feel like it's just in a weird spot. Ends up. It's like, what can they do to nerf it? It's like balance, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
it does everything like a little bit too well. Instead of being
Yeah.
like, everything is at 50%, it's like every stat is at 60%. So it's like there's nothing that's overtuned. Like there's nothing that's like polarizing about it. It's not like a Luna Blaster where it gets this one really powerful strength, but these billion weaknesses. But so it doesn't have anything that's as strong as the Luna Blaster's like AoE and ability to trade at short range, but it also just doesn't come with any of the downsides, and all of the things that it does well are almost as good as that upside. So yeah, it's the Mario of Splatoon 2. Their team, very similar. They've still got the same Rapid. They've still got the same Junior. So both of you guys are going double armor here. It's got the same K52, and then the one difference is the machine. So that's going to give them a little bit more of an ability to hit up over walls and like shark and stuff. And especially, I hate when a machine is able to get into closed, because it's really difficult to dislodge them from there. Like there are very few weapons that actually win that 1v1. So that's something that I look out for. So they have, I mean, the K52 is also really scary here, but this way they have like 2 weapons that can hold that down really well. Maybe even 3. Like a Rapid in there would be annoying too. So that's a play to definitely watch for, but it's looking like, you know, from all of the matches we've seen, people are going to try and aggress on every single angle that they can on these clan pushes. It's going to be interesting comparing this match to the Starburst one we just watched. All right, so they get armor, and then you guys pop missiles. Thunder goes down due to something that we just absolutely cannot see.
I think it was Luke pushing up or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, well, one of these blue names did it. We're focusing on the Junior as the spectator cam, as we are wont to do. So a flank comes through from where is it? Okay, so somebody went through tree in the meantime.
Yeah, that was me, I think. Yeah, that was me.
And so you come up from behind and force them off the bridge.
Yeah, me and Synapse flanked from the right side, and I flanked
Oh,
from the
that's
left.
so beautiful. Oh, I love this. So Synapse gets in, gets the wall up, gets hit by one slosh, but then before Landon is able to get their shots on, he's in front of the wall, and between you and him, take out the machine. And now that Landon is in range, he's able to either back up into the wall or use help. So that's just a really, really well played fight there. You get them all bottled up, and like, yeah, some of them are able to get away from that situation, but I think one of them goes down here.
No,
Yeah,
two of
the
them.
52 goes down, the Rapid goes down, and now it's just 3v2, and you guys do a really good job of executing to capitalize on that 3v2, and you get an absolutely clean wipe. Well, okay, I think one of you guys went down early, but
That was Thunder.
yeah, Thunder goes down early, but then the rest of you guys just cleanly wipe them. Beautiful fight. You're able to get clams, you're able to get to basket. So now I'm thinking, like, how do we set up? Because all of that happened very quickly. We have not been making a slow push where we've been able to gradually take ground over time. We don't have a lot that's painted. So we need a lot of things all at once. We need to have someone in position where they can stop the enemy team from just rushing out and stopping the scoring. We need paint control so we have both escape routes and ways around so that we can throw clams from multiple angles. We want to get someone over onto the left or the right or both. So there's a lot that needs to happen here. So the Booyah displaces people over here to give Taco time to get into basket and take on that scoring role. You're pushing into the left-hand side, and it looks like you're going to have some help from Synapse in a second. They're able to take over and use the wall and be more effective in that position. So I kind of like you pushing in there, running into a situation, and then backing up now that Synapse is able to take that position, because Synapse can score a little bit better there, and you're the one with clams.
Him and Thunder, 2v1 there.
Yep.
But then we have to back up here, I think? I know. Oh, Synapse goes down. But then I score a bit of climbs to stall it out, and I pre-fire here, and I think I get the junior.
Yeah, when Synapse goes down, that means that now all of a sudden, yeah, it goes down right there underneath the scoreboard, so it's hard to see. But now they're like, wait, we know where all three of them are. We can just collapse now. We can just hold forward. And so because that broke down, now they just kind of splash down out. I do like that you take this angle and that Taco is still looking at this, because you might be able to get some picks from them trickling in between the two of you. You get one there, but you go down. You probably needed a little bit more. I don't know what's forcing Taco out. Maybe there was a bomb. Oh, there's probably a fizzy that gets thrown in this direction that Taco has to run away from. I bet that's what's going on down there. And then they're not able to get back and trade it back. So it's just a 1-for-1, and they end up jumping out from using that ledge. Okay, so solid push down to 35. Doesn't knock out, primarily because Synapse goes down and you no longer have pressure on any other side. I think if you'd had pressure here and pressure here, it would have been harder for them to just dive on you guys. They would have still had to split their attention in at least two ways. That's something that I noticed Starburst was doing. They had someone here and someone here and someone here. And I think because we had to set up so quickly, we had so little paint to work with, we only put people in two locations, so as soon as one of those went down, the whole thing collapsed on itself. But it was a lot to look for off of a push that had that short of a time window. And honestly, I think that you did really well for the opportunity that you had. So
They all start trickling here, I think, one by one. So Helix goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And
Luke,
then
if I'm Luke, I'm not sure I want to stay here, to be honest.
nah,
I guess
should have
Dark went further forward. Yeah, and he engaged, like, if he's going to be engaging with Dark, he needs to be there with the Dark earlier, I think. Because Because by the time Dark is like really exposed and doesn't have like a wall or anything like that, they're forced to use their range, and they don't have range in that position. So from here, I feel like Luke probably doesn't want to try trading back, especially against an armored up team. Or no, they're not armored up. I'm just seeing blaster shots go in front and thinking that the glowy is on a squid. Yeah, okay.
And
So you
so
guys
my
are...
mindset here is that we just need to trickle in with double armor.
Mhm.
So we pop one armor, and then I pop the other one right after that one expires, and then we just
Yeah, this is game.
And then
Oh
we
my
didn't see the
god.
clams, but Thunder jumped in with one.
Okay. That was the last person that I would think to jump to with that clam, but it works out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a pretty clean game, but it was like messy for them because
Mm-hmm. The intentionality wasn't there with when they were choosing to fight. It felt like one of them would get caught, and then they'd be like, "Oh shoot, I need to trade back," and then the next one would go in and try and trade back, and then the next one, and they were taking fights one at a time the whole way. Ooh, try slosher. Woohoo.
Oh yeah, I played Try I think on like 2 maps.
Okay.
Oh no, that was the last set. I think I played Try on 1 map or on this map. That's it.
Neat. I've actually been working try into my rotation of weapons too. I'm definitely, I need some time in the training room with it, but I'm definitely seeing some situations where I like it better than having a shooter. But then they take pretty much the same comp, except they're swapping out for a bamboo. And wait, not quite the same, because they had a machine before. So they swap the machine out, and they swap out the rapid. And then I think everything else is the same, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So they'll have double missile here. They'll have, good line of fire for, like, bamboo I think of as controlling a straight line in front of it really well. So it's good for a position like down here. It's good for the street. When you're looking sideways at someone, it's good for looking across mid at various different angles. It's good for right peeking around this corner. So I think it's pretty solid for this map. And it gives them a little bit of range again to try and challenge maybe like the rapid or something.
Yep.
So then they've got the junior, so they're going to want to kind of be popping armor, holding forward, using this K-shot and K-52 really aggressively, and the bamboo is going to be able to follow up a little bit better than a traditional backliner would in securing picks. So very aggressive from them and pretty standard from you guys, I think. They're going to get the armor faster because they have a junior, so I think part of the play on you guys' part is either to I guess you might have tried to maybe have Taco get armor faster, but
I don't
even
think
so,
that's
junior
possible.
probably still outspeeds
Yeah.
it. Like you'd get it, you still wouldn't get it as fast as the junior, but you would probably get it faster than the tri-slosher still. But yeah, you guys just end up you're gonna lose tempo for the first push here.
But Luke dies. I don't know.
Yeah, what happens to Luke? Let's see.
I think he
Luke
just out.
Is he just out of missiles? He might just out of missiles.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he gets forced over to the right-hand side of our screen while the others are on the left. So maybe you guys get a pick there. Who does he go down? He goes down to the rapid, actually.
Okay, so I think he just got spammed by missiles and rapid.
Yeah, they really got flummoxed by those missiles. They popped armor and wanted to hold forward, and so they're all grouping up into this ramp that is the only way for them to get into mid. And then all the missiles are coming out, and they're like, wait, there are missiles all around me right now. So those were really well timed to kind of stifle their armor here. That's a really good like anti-armor missile push.
But yeah, me and Synapse try to pincer here, I think. But we both go down, I think.
So,
yeah, because I try to go from here, but then Synapse gets picked, and then I go from the other side, but I get picked as well. So we were just mistimed there. Or I think Synapse went in too deep.
Yeah, the
Because,
armor reveals them, and so like at this point, DNA is like, oh shoot, we need to deal with this now.
yeah, and
But yes,
they don't.
Synapse is diving on like 3 players, and you haven't started applying pressure yet. So,
Mhm.
like you're probably like a second desynced or something, and this is a hard play to sync up on because you cannot see much of each other as you're coming around the corners there. But
Yep.
I would think in a situation like that, what I might want to see from Synapse is just to wall off closed and like play it a little bit more slowly, and try and like crush in on them instead of like sprinting at them.
I know, but since we had like a fast start like last game, he thought we could maybe get the same thing. But then Thunder
Uh,
gets two here with missiles, I think. They pick off Taco, but then Thunder just kind of pops off, I think.
I want to slow this down just to be able to process it a little bit faster. So there's
So
2 down, but the missiles come out to stifle them from moving forward.
yeah,
It
look,
actually
all
gets
those
one of them.
missiles.
Oh, gets 2 of them with the missiles.
Yeah, because they were all stacked right there with three.
Yeah, these have been some clutch missile plays because both of them have caught the enemy team while they're trying to push in, and while in trying to push in, they're grouped up in a choke point.
Hmm.
So Taco
And
gets
then,
caught.
but then Thunder
Thunder
is
trades
just
back, and then they trade back, and you guys end up winning overall because these 2 players both went down to the missiles. So you have 2 on the field while they're respawning.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, those missiles were really clutch from Thunder.
yeah, because like this started off like granted one of them is down, so they're 1 down, but then you guys go 2 down, but then they go 2 down, so it's still in your favor in terms of numbers. The trades never actually leave your favor, and you just keep trading back and end up with control of the tower again.
Hmm.
Okay, so they're down. Thunder gets on. Oh, that bomb's scary. Okay. Yeah, they did end up getting it. Thunder with a huge missile play and gets 2, and the camera shifts away from him right during his moment.
Yeah, I
Like, oh
don't
no,
know
we don't
why.
want to see that. We don't want to see a triple kill. Nah, that's lame. Show me the tower that's
Show me the
sitting,
tower that's just
that's
sitting.
sitting there with nobody around it. Oh my god. And there's a fight happening on the bottom of the screen that we don't get to see.
Yeah, I think it was just Luke like getting pushed in the corner. And then I'm just sitting here on ledge with Try. I keep switching between ledges. So I was there first.
Yeah, I'm looking to
And
see like where you guys are setting up for each checkpoint, which is hard to see because of the camera angle. But so we've got Synapse controlling this angle so nobody can drop down. We've got you threatening anybody who is like trying to come from this direction. So that's a good kind of radius in front of the tower to be controlling. I think one of you is like spawning back in because they went down on the tower before.
yeah, I think it was Thunder.
Yeah, the missiles come in from Thunder to apply some pressure. They're really not contesting the tower right now, and I cannot tell. I guess they're still spawning back in at this point. They're still trying to get their footing. Still trying
Oh
to get
no.
specials or something.
Look what Synapse does though. He
Yeah, he hops
goes
over.
No, he goes all the way in, I think. Because I'm distracting whoever's there. And then yeah, he's all the way up on top left. Or top right. Yeah, top right.
So he goes onto the grates. Shoot, I need to back up more. So he's here. And now where does he go?
He goes all the way top right to kill.
Oh, so is he over here now?
Yeah, he kills the bamboo, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. He gets to the K shot. And then the bamboo has to jump out. And then yeah, we're just pressuring them really hard here. And then I got the trade back with Luke. And then yeah, I think that's game.
So this is kind of a A Super P highlight reel we're watching right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was telling Taco. That's like that set was just like really fast.
Yeah.
At least compared to the Starburst one, where the Starburst one, there was like, I think this is the closest game I think we had versus them.
So we went back to Reef, interestingly. Um, oh, right. This was the Inkopolis Showdown rules where you could just counterpick.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the dumb rule was that you could counterpick, uh, the losing team counterpicks the mode, but then the winning team counterpicks the stage, and then you have to cycle through all 4 modes anyways. So it's not like you have many options.
Right, like counterpicks. What are counterpicks? We want the winning team to win.
Yeah, because there was a meme about us that we would just counterpick Surgeon Shipyard, and I think we counterpicked Surgeon Shipyard versus Cherry Limeade like three
Yeah.
times in a row. Like
Mm-hmm.
that one was funny because like I think the rest of the maps were like Albacore and like something else, and it was just like they have an E leader, and it's just like yeah, so they have an E leader, so we're not gonna do that. And then the next time we face Ryu in semis, and they have a bamboo, and we can't counterpick a walleye or port versus a bamboo. Like that's just it's just asking to lose.
The fact
So
that Walleye and Port were in the map list are also kind of special, but alrighty. Well, let's see how Reef Zones goes, because this is actually a good map mode. So we're taking immediate bridge control with 2 players. You are painting up over here, and so we've got the missiles go out, and my concern here is like I'm drawing my missiles behind my teammates so they have no escape route from their own missiles. Okay, so we all see that situation, and we back all the way up into street. And then pop armor. Nobody's down yet. Thunder's deciding to go up top right. You look to see if you want to support that, and you decide to support it by going in through the front instead, and you catch the junior out. Nice. That's just knowing that you win the 1v1 against them. And meanwhile, 2 players have gone down, and we can't see what happened, but it worked. So that's really good. Like, and that's why you take a Zap over a junior. That's why you make a decision like that, because the Zap just fights better. It has better range, it has better accuracy, and so if you put the 2 in a 1v1, like the junior has some bombs that it can potentially use, but
the Zap can just paint over. The Zap can just paint over the juniors' bombs, and Zap has like really good movement. So as long as you don't mess up on that part of it, then Zap wins like 95% of the time. This is a junior in a 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you don't have map control.
So, okay, this is Squeezer. We didn't talk about the pumps. This is the first Squeezer we've seen in all of these, which is crazy to me because I think that weapon's busted. So, the power of Squeezer is that it can hit things at almost Jet Squelcher range and kill them almost as fast as a splatter shot. It's pretty dumb.
I wanted to pick up Squeezer, but I can't do it because you have to like tap really fast with it, and it's like it hurts your hands.
Yeah,
a lot to play it because you have to tap really fast.
It's like going like Kaioken or something. Like you get so much power, but it just destroys your body.
Yeah.
So Dark gets a pick because weapon, and then pops bubbles to push their way into right tree. You guys have armor, but Luke gets in, and that's going to be a pretty good pick for them. No trade back from Thunder. They're forced back out. And so the Booyah is going to clear anyone who's possibly sharking here, and you're going to be able to take zone with that. What are your thoughts, Juan, on the idea of booyahing the zone? Because I have an opinion about this, but I want to hear what you want to say about it first.
I feel like booyahing the zone is only like really well if you're like really struggling to cap it, or if it's like a last second situation. I feel like those are the only 2 times where you should booyah zone. Most of the time you should just booyah where you see the most people at, or where you can see like a pinch situation most of the time. That's how I feel about booyah.
So I agree with a lot of that. Like, my personal feeling is if you're struggling to paint the zone specifically, your main weapon paints better than the Booyah Bomb does, because the Booyah Bomb is gonna like have a lot of burst paint, but
you can paint over it.
you're going to be sitting there for like 5 seconds charging it, not doing anything to the zone. And then when the Booyah Bomb comes out, all it takes is like one shooter player painting through it, and it doesn't really do anything. I don't hate it in this case because you might be nervous if you're Luke that maybe someone's sharking under bridge that you haven't spotted yet. And so the Booyah makes sure to clear them out of that space. And you know you're going to have enough forward pressure to take the other zone. So once you've popped it on the bottom there, you've forced the one player back. You've made sure there's nobody who's going to be sharking you, and now you can take this space safely. They've kind of already won the situation, so it's not the worst thing in the world for them to just pop it there. But yeah, I always try to tell people, like, Booyah is not a painting special. Booyah is a displacement special. Like, you use it much closer to the way you would want to use missiles than the way that you would want to use rain or something, in my opinion.
Because using a Booyah to like paint over a zone is kind of wasteful because like two shooters can like instantly paint over it in like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's only really useful in like a situation where you literally need the paint in like that instant. Oh, but yeah, Luke like goes on like
Luke is kind of popping off right now. So that was really good use of the wall. 52 players, like, take a look at how he slowly backs into the wall. Like, Taco shoots behind the wall, and then he moves in front of the wall, and he's kind of like going back and forth to make it difficult for Taco to figure out where to fire the shots. And so that isolates him into a 1v1 with the player on the left, and then he's able to follow up on Thunder. And then it looks like you're trying to maybe trade back, like maybe someone's calling, they're weak, and you go in to try and help with that. But at this point, since they're already down, Luke is able to just focus on you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit, this feels a little out of place to me because we've just lost a fight in a major way. Like, contesting bridge isn't the first thing that I'm thinking to do from that position. So it feels a little bit scattered from you guys there.
Mm-hmm. At this point, we just need to regroup, make sure we don't get picked off like one by one again.
Yeah. Because like,
so
if that exact fight happens again, you lose the game.
Yeah. So they have 3 specials here. Dark, I feel like, popped these bubbles way too early because we weren't even ready to push in. We only had armor, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody. I don't think anybody even wants to get close enough to get killed by those bubbles yet.
Yeah, because all we did was pop.
I guess maybe this guy's thinking of swimming this way, and so that's what Dark's trying to do to flush him out of there. I don't know. But they're not going to get to you guys in time. You have time to back up with that. You're also going to have armor ready to go for it, so.
Mm-hmm. And then this Booyah is really good because that player gets trapped by Thunder, I think.
Let's see. So it's this is the junior. Oh yeah, you're right, Keisha. I'm used to, like, in game the weapons are set in one place, and so I look to the same place and expect to see the same team. But since it's switching back and forth between teams and the weapons flip on screen, it throws me every time. So what happens as a result of that Booyah? Another DNA play goes down over there, the junior. It's hard to tell exactly how that fight goes. I'm trying to, like, track what's happening down here. So I think this is their junior, and this is Thunder.
Yeah, but then
Helix goes in.
But then gets trapped by the
Helix goes down by the Booyah, yeah. So that's really good skirmishing from Thunder then, because that was a scary situation for a second there, but then the Booyah comes in and saves them. So you go down somewhere, and we really cannot see where.
Yeah. No, I went down on the left side. I don't know to what. I don't remember. But then, yeah, skirmish. Synapse gets the last pick, and then they're forced to back up here.
So they've got armor, and they're starting to aggress on bridge. Here comes your armor.
They get the cap, but I think it's only for a second because me and Synapse like pinch really hard here.
Yeah, and this is a really good position for Taco too. Like, it gives her access to the opposite side zone and clears someone out of there into this pinch. And then once they're in this pinch, she's able to keep them there. And so, yeah, really, really good positioning, I think, for a Rapid Blaster there. If I ever do a Rapid Blaster to X series, I'm definitely going to be thinking about that sort of play.
Yeah, having a positional advantage on players is like a main factor of why Rapid's so good, because it's able to like just start spraying across the map.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a shooter, but it's not really a shooter, but in a way it's kind of like a shooter with how fast it fires. And then here, we just clean up Dark. Helix tries to pick me, but then I just avoid him and then just start kiting over the zones again.
Yeah, you do a really good job of skirmishing there, of like being in the way enough that they shoot you, but being hard to hit.
And I just go for the junior, but then Dark goes for that pick, but that didn't work out because of Rapid.
Because Taco still has bridge control. They really have to contest the bridge to get Taco off of there, because they just have too many different angles. It's like I was talking about earlier with the chess analogy. You put a piece in the middle of the board, they have access to just more of the board. So Taco is able to have an impact on all of the fights that are going on instead of just one of them. And in between fights, they're able to shift their attention to the next one faster. So it's just like a disproportionate numbers advantage. I don't think I worded that super well, but you get my meaning, I think. Booyah goes out to try and trap this player on the left, which they do get them caught there, but it doesn't look like they go down. And in the meantime, Landon gets picked. How does that happen? Landon's behind Luke. So Landon just gets isolated on the right, because it looks like there are two players that are behind Luke right now. And so Landon's the first in on the right and doesn't go in the same direction. And he's pinging this way like, hey, wait, where'd we go? Why is there nobody with me? And Luke's over here while he's down here. So that's a little bit of a desync on their push.
And Dark's top right. I think I get picked here because Squeezer just outranging. Yeah.
They go in with bubbles, it looks like. Yeah.
But then I think Synapse gets a pitch here. Yeah, they pick them off of bubbles. And then Synapse just pinches the rest of them. And then, yeah, they get wiped.
That Booyah, I'm not sure how much of a fan of that Booyah I am, because yes, it forces them forward, but that was what they wanted to do anyway. So like, sometimes like I do this a lot on like Anchovy tower control. You know how you get to the second checkpoint and you have to like clear them off the top left. So like, I always try to tell my teammates, okay, they're about to rush forward on the tower. I know this because I am missiling them, and that's the only place they have to go. So be ready for them to actually drop down. Like, that's usually the plan. And that's kind of what happens here. Like, yeah, he's displacing them, but he's displacing them in the direction they were moving anyway. So it doesn't really stop anything from happening. And now, with that many players down, there's no shot that they get to zone.
They just have to rush here. It's true.
So the opening fights definitely didn't go in your favor. Like there was that one position where you kind of went in one at a time. But once you started getting control, especially once you got Taco installed on bridge, that looked pretty smooth sailing. You were able to just get picks and then trade down, and get picks and trade down and keep going. Okay.
And then they switched their comp here. Luke transitions to K-Shot, which was really weird because he's mostly known for playing K-Gal, so. And then Dark switches to K-Machine again.
Yeah. I think I've seen Luke playing Nautilus and maybe even Machine before as well. But yeah, it's definitely a different comp. They're definitely trying something new because they're looking at it like, okay, well, we need to change something. Let's see if we can change something in the comp, I guess. I don't think you guys change anything at all. And then they have Array, so that's going to be a factor that you'll have to deal with if they get a lead. They've got a Machine, which is going to be annoying for harassing down here and putting fizzy bombs over onto zone, or not zone, onto the one area of the map that you have to contest really hard. So fizzy spam is going to be annoying, so I like that choice for here. And they've got a bunch of bombs from the Junior and the K-Shot. So I like their comp. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think their comp's pretty good here too. we get pop 2 as well. But then here, I think this is what happens where they get separated really hard.
So
Yeah,
they're all on
because
the
they get
right, and then the
missile.
missiles go off, and so they have to run far away from each other. And man, does that... Oof, that's a decisive
Yeah,
loss right there. Oh, and the
and,
junior staggers out too. Oh man,
and then
I
Synops
bet this
also
just
gets
ends immediately. Oh, okay,
no.
okay. Hero play from the left.
Hmm. And then Thunder picks it up. But then Synops cancels the
Woo!
slash. And then it's two of us still.
So now we're trying to like we're in position on plat. We've established that, and now we're like, okay, we need to clear them out before we try running it again. Because you've got time, you've got lead.
But then, whoop, yeah. And Thunder tries to rush it, and then yeah, that's it.
Nice. The squid bagging there is it
I
helps
think.
you paint your feet a little bit because when you go squid form, you put a little bit of ink down for yourself. It's something that you see a lot of Rainmaker carriers do, or like it's something even like heavyweight weapons like a Hydra or Dynamo might do if they need to get out of a situation to their own ink.
Hmm.
So that's not taunting, that's mechanical.
Yeah, without that, he probably would have died to the right.
Mm-hmm. And also just being squid form makes you a smaller target, so they're more likely to miss things. Like people might shoot higher up on the goal platform thinking that they're about to try climbing it, and instead he goes the other way. At least one shot I think I saw that missed for that reason. So
Hmm.
so yeah, they might have been able to get control when they got the Rainmaker the second time, I think. Like I think from this position it's not impossible for them to hold.
Yeah, but I think Whoop panicked and then dropped into like yeah 3v1.
Yeah, they get shot twice, and now they're like, well, if I go backwards, I still get hit. So the only way to dodge this third shot is to drop over the side, and I hope I trade. And against a K-Gal, probably not. And this is really good defense on Juan's part, pre-firing the angles that they can shoot the Rainmaker from. Because this is the most dangerous place that you have to worry about from that position. Eventually someone tries to rotate over here, but they don't get there in time. And so, yeah, that's just really well played from there. The missiles really caught them out in a bad way, and you guys did a good job of capitalizing on it, because like they would have survived the missiles, but they didn't survive the isolation.
Hmm. Because one scattered to the right side, one scattered to mid, and then the other one backed all the way up. But then they all still got picked anyways.
Yeah. And in a staggered fashion. Like the junior got picked like 5-7 seconds after the other ones got picked. So even once the first ones were back up, the junior still wasn't up with them.
Hmm.
And that's them losing armor charge, which is huge.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, was that the whole thing?
Yeah, because it was a best of 7. We 4-0'd them.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Hey, play for the competition. Yeah, sure. Cool. Neat. Thank you, Nintendo, I guess. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Juan, for coming on the show and, giving us your thoughts about it, and also, being willing to, put your gameplay up there in front of everybody and let us use it as an educational tool.
Yeah, because even if I'm like a top player in the game, there's still certain mistakes that I do that are obvious and that I should like improve on. Like no matter what you do in the game, you're still gonna make mistakes. It's just how it is. So you gotta improve on it no matter what.
Yeah. That right there is humility, and that's something that I talk about a lot in my videos. About it's really important to be willing to learn from your mistakes. You don't learn if you have an ego because you think that you're already the best thing ever. But if you think, okay, what can I do better? What can I learn? Like, what new thing can I glean out of this conversation? that's when you keep improving, and that's what gets you up to this level. So I want to hold that up as an example to all y'all in the audience, because that's really cool to hear. So thank you again, Juan. And Juan is in the Squid School server, so I'm sure if you ever have any questions, especially about short range shooters, but about the game in general, you can feel free to send him a message. I'm sure he's already talked about how top players are always willing to have those kinds of conversations. And now that you know that he's here and that, hey, this guy played for Super P and like won a Nintendo tournament, you're like, oh, he's really good. Yeah, I should ask him some questions. So if you're interested and you're not in this server, here is that Discord link. So if all of y'all are looking for advice from me or from the players that we have on here, you know, that's where we're kind of congregating at the moment. That's going to do it for me for the stream. I'm going to, you know, as usual, anybody who's on YouTube who wants to join in the Twitch raid, feel free to come on in here. I'm going to really quickly...
Yeah, because my goal for Splatoon 3 is to really connect to the casual audience, because I felt like I've been in comp for like the past like 5 years, I think, but I haven't really talked to many casuals or people that want to rise up in comp. So I want to see their mindsets as well, because my rise to comp was really fast. So I want to see how other people take it as well.
So,
Should you drop? Oh, someone's asking. Should you drop a non-shooter for a shooter that's just better? I mean, we'll see, because the meta in Splatoon 3 is going to be completely different because of how they transition from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2. Like Dynamo and them were like really busted in Splatoon 1, and they got heavily nerfed in this game. Same thing with Luna. So we just got to see how the changes. But I don't think you should drop a weapon. They might buff it. Who knows?
Yeah. And there are definitely non-shooters that are viable. Like, we're seeing blasters here. We're seeing some buckets in use here. We're seeing chargers. Like, it's not like shooters are the only weapons that are valid, but you want to just pick the weapon that you are going to be most likely to win with. And at a top level, that's probably going to be a meta weapon, and you're going to find that out probably through experimentation. But at a variety of levels, it'll just work. Oop. I accidentally, I guess the raid triggers automatically at a certain point. So
it's fine.
We're out of there.